Good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday, September 19th, 2025. This is a regular meeting of the Commissioners of the City of Rehoboth Beach that it's attached to, and we start with an annual reorganization. This is live in City Hall Commissioners Room, second floor. I'd like to call this meeting to order at exactly 2 p.m. I would like to say it is wonderful to see so many people and with smiling faces here. So we're going to start off with the annual reorganization meeting, and the first element of that is administration of oath of office. The two new commissioners are listed alphabetical, if you want to know, and we're going to start off with Mr. Galante. Come forward with your husband. If you stand dead center so that we can capture you on both microphones there.
I, and state your full name,
I, Christopher Galante,
do proudly swear
to
carry out the responsibilities of the Office of Commissioner
of the Office of Commissioner
of the City of Rehoboth Beach
of the City of Rehoboth Beach
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my abilities,
freely
acknowledging
that the powers of this office flow from the people I am privileged to represent. I further swear always to place the public interest above any special or personal interests, and to respect the right of future generations to share the rich historic and natural heritage of Delaware. In doing so, I will always uphold and defend the constitutions of my country and my state. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Still a little paperwork to do.
Patrick, thank you.
Congratulations. Come back. Again, congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And next, second alphabetically, Susan Stewart.
You can stand over there. And you raise your right hand. It really doesn't matter. But that's
Do I raise my right
Raise
hand?
your right hand.
Okay.
Okay, and just repeat after me.
I will.
I, and state your full name,
I, Susan Stewart,
do proudly swear
to
carry out the responsibilities
carry out the responsibilities
of the Office of Commissioner
of the Office of Commissioner
of the City of Rehoboth Beach
of the City of Rehoboth Beach
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
freely acknowledging
freely acknowledging
that the powers of this office flow from the people I am privileged to represent. I further swear always to place the public interests above any special or personal interest, and also to respect the right of future generations to share the rich historic and natural heritage of Delaware. In doing so, I will always uphold and defend the constitutions of my country and my state. So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Sorry. Who didn't I hit up? Congratulations. Oh, no, me. Thanks. Thank you, Mayor. I like it.
With that, would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to start off with a roll call. Commissioner Galante,
Present.
Commissioner Suzanne Good,
Present.
Commissioner Mark Saunders,
Present.
Commissioner Patrick Gossett,
Here.
Commissioner Craig Thier,
Here.
Commissioner Susan Stewart,
Here.
and Mayor Stan Mills is here. We have a full complement of the mayor and commissioners and are able to formally conduct business today. If you don't mind, I would like to take a little pause, and because I didn't know that he was going to show up today, if Bunky would come forward real quick.
Standing here.
Got a new car? I'm always on that side. Thank you. Again, it was a surprise that I think in 27 years of coming to these, you're the first one that's ever showed his face again afterwards. And we're glad you have. Well, we have a little desk plaque for you that has the City of Rehoboth seal on it. And underneath it says, Francis Bunky Markert, in recognition of your service and exceptional dedication to the City of Rehoboth Beach, 2010 to 2025. Congratulations. You get the whole box too. Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. He has
Think
to
he had
show
to
up.
share?
Before we continue, I'd also like to recognize State Representative Claire Snyder Hall, if you would just stand and wave. Of course, representative from the General Assembly of Delaware. Thank you for showing up today. Are there any other big celebrities? Big one. No, I guess not. All right. With that, we're going to move on to the next item of business during the annual reorganization meeting, and that is election of officers for the Board of Commissioners. And I'm nominating the slates for Vice President, Commissioner Patrick Gossett, Secretary, Commissioner Mark Saunders, Assistant Secretary Ann Womack, and Treasurer Mary Moore. Could I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Craig Thier and a second by Commissioner Patrick Gossett to approve the slate of election of officers. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed? And the motion is carried unanimously.
Mr. Mayor, I was going to vote nay and I wanted to present a reason for one of the appointments. It has to do with the.
Let me give you the floor first. No, actually, did you miss,
only asked.
she missed the opportunity.
You said anyone opposed, and I know you said, everyone voted aye, but I did not say anything when.
Well,
voted aye, and
hold
then
hold on a second. Okay, I'm sorry, I thought everybody was going to vote in favor. Having not done that, we're going to reconduct the vote as a roll call vote. And typically how that works is I do a roll call vote from one side to the other. Chair's always last. And then I often stagger the votes and subsequent votes. So with that, again, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the slate as presented in the agenda. I'm looking for a motion, the votes. Commissioner Chris Galante, what is your vote?
Aye.
Discussion? Well, you want, Commissioner Suzanne Good?
I need to vote nay because simultaneously, Commissioner Gossett, there's an appointment to be head of the Personnel Committee. I believe that is also on today's agenda, and I feel this confers too much power to one commissioner. So I would like to know if anyone else feels that. It seems to be a conflict of interest to be both the vice president and the head of the Personnel Committee, including, I believe he was head of the Personnel Committee in the spring of 2024 when a lot of strange personnel hiring decisions were made.
Commissioner Good, your answer is expansive. Would you give your vote, please?
So the slate, the election of officers, the secretary, assistant secretary, and treasurer, I have no issue with. It's the vice president.
The motion on the floor is to approve the slate in front of us. The answer I'm looking for is a yes or a no.
I need to vote nay on this
All right,
slate.
Commissioner Saunders.
Aye.
Commissioner Gossett.
Aye.
Commissioner Thier.
Aye.
Commissioner Stewart.
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye, so the vote is carried to approve the nominations, 6-1. Thank you very much. With that, next on our agenda is consider adoption of a resolution relating to the opening of bank accounts.
Thank you, Mayor. I will read the resolution. Be it resolved that the treasurer of the city of Rehoboth Beach is hereby authorized to open and maintain a bank account in any bank authorized to do business in the state of Delaware, which has an office within 5 miles of the corporate limits of the city of Rehoboth Beach. And be it further resolved that Stanley A. Mills Jr., Mayor of the city of Rehoboth Beach and President of the Commissioners of Rehoboth Beach, and J. Patrick Gossett, Vice President of the Commissioners, or either of those two, and Mary Moore, Treasurer of the City of Rehoboth Beach, shall be authorized signatories of any bank account opened by the treasurer. And be it further resolved that checks, drafts, notes, and other instruments or documents drawn on the city's accounts may bear the facsimile signature of Stanley A. Mills Jr., Mayor of the City of Rehoboth Beach and President of the Commissioners of Rehoboth Beach, and that facsimile specimens of such signature shall be filed with banks where the city deposits its funds.
So I would have a motion to adopt the resolution relating to opening of bank accounts before us.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Patrick Gossett and a second by Commissioner Suzanne Good to adopt the resolution relating to the opening of bank accounts before us. Is there anyone that's going to vote no? If not, we'll do a group vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, again, are no. And the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. With that, we're going to move on to city solicitor. However, I want to give a preface that I overlooked earlier. I wanted to thank everybody that's here virtual, waving to those in the camera. Also want to thank everybody that's here in person today. We welcome your public input. The rules for engagement and public comment are at the bottom of the agenda. Please note that the engagement for the public comment allows for comment during certain items of business, old business, new business, et cetera. However, because we have this annual reorganization and their topics don't fit neatly into the old business, new business category, the city solicitor items 2F, 1, 2, and 3, 4 will also have opportunity for public input. With that, when the time comes for public input, please note that I'd like you to be recognized and given the floor before talking, and that also is applicable to the Board of Commissioners up here. If you would be recognized and given the floor before you start speaking. Also want to finish up with notes about support documents. Support documents are documents that support our individual agenda topics. When they're ready a sufficient time ahead of the meeting, they are embedded into the agenda electronically. And that way you can see all the documents that we have in front of us by going to the portal online. With that, we're going to move to the 2F, the city solicitor, and we have 4 topics under the city solicitors. I believe you're going to give a preface to number 1. Lisa?
What we are going to do for the next several items are what I refer to as housekeeping things that are to occur at the organizational meeting. As we discussed last meeting, this is the time for commissioners to affix their salaries. Pursuant to the charter, the commissioners of Rehoboth Beach at the first regular meeting in September following the annual election shall meet for the purpose of organization. In addition, the charter states the commissioners shall fix the salaries and compensation of the employees, officers, and agents of the city and the time and manner of his or her or their payment. This means that commissioner salaries are to be determined at this meeting. I want to be clear that should a decision be made to increase salaries, and that will be certainly after your discussion, it would not be effective immediately, but rather would be effective only for newly elected commissioners at the start of their designated term, or in the case of a re-elected commissioner, upon the beginning of the new term. As a result, due to the staggered terms of the commissioners, there may be situations where the various commissioners will have different salaries. Presently, the mayor receives $1,000 and the commissioners receive $600. I would open the floor for discussion.
Let me preface this before I turn it over to the commissioners. I think, Suzanne, you initiated the earlier conversation, and we did have one brief conversation on that and then deferred until this point. During this previous conversation, Suzanne, you mentioned bringing up increasing commissioner salaries from $600 to $10,000. And the mayor, who, as Lisa mentioned, made $1,000 to $20,000. What I'd like to do is offer you the floor first, if you'd like to share that, if you have any different rationale now versus then, or any other critiques or on salary.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm firstly disappointed we had an email discussion that Ms. Ogden has effectively, this is, by the way, these are salaries which date from the 1990s. It's $600 per year. So it's not, so and $1,000 per year for the mayor. So, we didn't have the context there. But Ms. Ogden has specified already that any consideration now, instead of being able to go into effect once the Dover legislature makes a charter change, perhaps by February or March for inclusion in our budget discussions for fiscal year 2027, the budget will be approved in March of 2026. So I believe you have not presented it in the way that I was promised. Because a 1990s honorarium of $600 per year, I know you don't want to hear all the reasons that we went through in, I believe, beginning in late January or February. It is insufficient for a person to devote the time it takes when city employees have resources to spend 40 hours a week, and I believe the commissioners, as a result, aren't doing as good a job as they should. By comparison, the town of Tacoma Park, Maryland, with an almost identical annual budget to ours, although their budget hasn't ballooned in recent years like ours, their council members make about $25,000 a year, and their mayor about $35,000 a year. Now, I had a modest suggestion of $10,000 per year for each commissioner and $20,000 for the mayor, which Commissioner Saunders and I then compromised, I believe, on $6,000 per commissioner and $10,000 for the mayor. There are so many inherent problems with underpaying commissioners, to include you won't attract people who are missing Social Security credits, for instance, which I believe the minimum is about $1,800 per quarter to qualify for a quarter of Social Security credits. So that $6,000 a year is just shy of that $1,800 per quarter. So $10,000 seemed reasonable. But the main problem now is this has happened time and time again. We're now, by default, announcing that after spending a lot of time discussing this, and now here it is again, this is not even going to take effect, and until someone's either reelected or someone newly is appointed to office. So it's almost, it's just not worth, why are we discussing this under those restrictions? It's like we're going to stay in the 1990s, 30 years ago, because I believe, people involved here have decided that my concerns about not being able to devote the time to city business, and I've observed based on some bad decisions that have been made and learning that some of the documents weren't even ready until literally the meeting was already underway or just at the beginning of the meeting, have led to poor judgment and decision-making. So I think the taxpayers, for instance, I was fighting against a $47,000 mixed-use consultancy late last year. That took a lot of my time.
Suzanne,
that would
Suzanne,
represent, that's more than the amount
stay
of
on
money
topic.
that Commissioner Saunders and I were proposing to pay to basically the entire board. So we throw money at consultants, but we don't spend the money where it would be effective for taxpayers.
Commissioner Good, if I may, it is not me, as you have alleged, that has determined how this is going to work. It's the charter, which further provides that the salary or compensation of any such employee, officer, or agent shall not be increased during the term of said office, should said appointment there to be for a designated term, meaning that commissioners are elected for a specific term of office. The charter arguably prevents the city from increasing the salary of such commissioner during the elected term.
But that's the whole point. We were going to get a charter change to be different from the current language in the charter. So, but you're going back to a situation. I'm just wasting my time even bringing this to be under discussion, because you, in spite of emails about this, you've made it so we don't have an opportunity to have this take effect in a timely way. It's years out for anyone. It doesn't incentivize people properly. I think we are being, so-called penny wise and pound foolish to have everybody sort of spending time when convenient, spending time on issues select people whom you know want dealt with, but not being able to devote the requisite time to get serious business done, to do the research, including, for instance, on an issue like whether non-residents, non-property owners, non-business owners should serve on our committees and commissions. I did a search.
Suzanne.
But you can't expect people
Suzanne,
to work for free.
Suzanne, please, you're off topic.
Well,
You've
I'm
made
giving an
your-
example
you're-
of why
you-
doing the research takes away too much from someone's life, and you're not getting quality work from us. That's my belief, because of the salary, which is so much lower than other similar municipalities with we have a $44 million budget.
Commissioner Good, please conclude. You want us to stop this conversation, or
I'm
you want to vote
concerned
no,
that-
or
that-
yes, or give us a formula?
Well, as usual.
But I'd like you to
I
conclude.
will wrap up by saying, I feel I've been blindsided because I emailed saying, I'm concerned, let's have a discussion so that this can actually be, happen in the near term. But instead, you're going back to what the charter says right now. That was the whole point, to get the charter modified in Dover early next year, instead of, living, like fossils, and we never change anything.
Thank you, Suzanne. Commissioner Saunders?
Thank you. Since my name was mentioned, I would want to make the point that I never agreed or never thought for a moment that the quality of the professionals that we have up here is in any way inhibited by their salary. So I want that to be clear. I think everybody here does an excellent job for practically no pay. That said, I do agree that the pay is awfully low and should be, for the purposes of self-respect, if no other, at least equal to towns like Milton, Ellendale, these small Shelbyvilles of the world that are paying their people, I don't know what, but I thought $6,000 seemed like a fair amount. And I did share that with Commissioner Good, and agreed that that would be a fair amount. However, I do think that we can't just take up the charter and throw it away. We can't rip it up. We need to follow the charter rules, and we can do that. It does mean that we may be a year out before we can put a raise into effect. So be it. I don't think anybody here is doing this for the money. But I do think that we ought to get the respect that an equal pay would show. So that's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else? Lewis, I was with the Lewistown mayor yesterday. Their council members make $3,000 a year, and the mayor makes $4,000 a year. I was also with the Dewey mayor, and they make $0 a year. I think it's important, if we look at this, we need to take a look at what are the duties of the commissioners and the mayor. And I tell you, when Commissioner Good threw out $20,000 for the mayor, that sounded pretty darn good, But by the time it gets implemented, I'll be long gone or dead probably. But what do the commissioners do? Well, just looking at there's no section in the charter about what the duties of the commissioner are. But they attend workshops, regular meetings, special budget. Well, that right there, that's 36 minimum meetings a year. Duration 2 to 6 hours each. They chair committees. They're the liaisons to different agencies. They are legislators that work and sponsor legislation and amendments. So they've got their work cut out for them. Do time for meeting preparation. But I'd also like to share with you the mayoral duties for whoever does this position. Mayoral duties, some of them are outlined in the charter, some are not. But what does the mayor do? Creates agendas in partnership with the city manager, assistant city manager, and city solicitor. Presides at meetings of the commissioners, workshops, regular meetings, special meetings, executive sessions, permit of compliance, public hearings. The mayor engages with the media, partnership with the communications specialist, responds to TV and newsprint media requests for interviews. During COVID, over 100 interviews, because that was a hot topic. When President Biden became president, It was highlighted as living in Rehoboth Beach. And I did over 60 interviews on a nationwide basis, actually worldwide basis, because he was big news. And of course, since then, there's a reduced number of media requests, but there's still a significant number of monthly interviews. The mayor conducts speeches and addresses groups, speaks at Rehoboth Beach Patrol functions, speaks at the Rehoboth Beach Police Department annual dinner. I have taught multiple sessions to the Rehoboth Beach Elementary School, bring them into this room and give them government lessons. I bring them into City Hall and give them tours of City Hall. I do speeches at Arbor Day for the ceremony and proclamations. I give other miscellaneous speeches for the Retired Marine Corps Association, Sister Cities ceremonies, Verrazano Day ceremonies, Rehoboth Beach Homeowners Association, Country Club Estates Property Owners Association, Rehoboth Beach Dewey Beach Chamber of Commerce, Rehoboth Beach Main Street, Kiwanis, homeowner associations other than the RBHA, the VIA, and Canal Dedication. Pending speeches are actually tomorrow. There's an AIDS walk I speak at. And the following week, there's a Greater Federation of Women's Club where I speak. I've done speaking for and setting up for Pride Month. I've written a foreword for the VIA book that was recently published. So what else does the mayor do? Weekly or more frequently as needed, meetings with the city manager and/or meetings with the assistant city manager, city solicitor, city secretary, attend various outside agency workshops for such as for DENREC and Wind Farm and other webinars. I participate personally in Sussex County Association of Towns. I've been on their legislative committee. I go to breakfast meetings to discuss legislative topics. I'm a legislative day speaker at their functions. I go to their dinner meetings. I also participate in the Delaware League of Local Governments, Legislative Action Committee, I'm a member. I go to their dinner meetings. I'm a member and past president of the now defunct Association of Coastal Towns, ACT, and I attend monthly meetings with coastal mayors. I participated recently on the DENREC Work Study Group on Economics of Beach Nourishment and participate in Legislature Day in Legislative Hall in Dover. I've gone up to Dover and lobbied in front of the committees and the General Assembly and Legislative Hall on various topics. Per the charter, I sign all deeds and contracts and countersign all checks authorized by the commissioners. Lastly, I have been a speaker on no smoking in front of the Ocean City, Maryland Council. I'm the acting chair recently to sunsetting 5 advisory committees, and that certainly has been taking a lot of my time, and 1 task force being sunset. I make nominations for positions on boards, commissions, and committees, and I have all the powers of the justice of the peace. In other words, I get to perform marriages. I have 3 under my belt so far. Anyhow, I just wanted you to see that for a different salary level, if you will, that there is a different amount of work that goes into each position. Is there anybody else that would like to offer their comments on Commissioner Stewart?
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to echo what Mark said. And I think I'm concerned, we all took this position knowing what the salary was. And so the sense that we're not going to give our all if we don't get paid enough is abhorrent. I think commissioners do a heck of a lot of work, and I know from my time on the Planning Commission that I spent hours and hours every week in that job, and I expect that this one is no less of a commitment. So I am in a position with my firm where I work that I cannot accept a salary, and I'm happy and grateful to give service, but I am supportive of commissioners getting some more compensation because it's a ton of work.
Can I do a follow-up? Do you have any Or do you want to make any suggestions on a level?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I'm smarter than that.
Gotcha. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Good?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times we don't have data-backed research, and this is no different. For example, the town of Lewis, with a much smaller budget than ours, has one meeting a month on a Monday night, and it starts, I believe, at 7 p.m., and it wraps by 9:30 p.m. So for whatever the reason, Rehoboth Beach seems to be a more complex, challenging environment. And I am convinced that by introducing it in a way that we can't take care of it, similar to the newsstands and all the other issues that many of us have tried to bring up, it gets discussed ad nauseum, but we take no action. I hope we can maybe take some action to agree. We now have a full-time in-house counsel who can draft something for a charter revision for Dover and get it done by, in time for the April 1st, 2025 fiscal year 27. Obviously, none of us are doing this for the money, but I think that going forward, we need to get real and we're not even using best practices that other small towns have adopted. And I think that's unfortunate. We often reinvent things and not in a good way, leave ourselves open to lawsuits often because we don't do things in ways that have been shown to work for other
Mayor, if I could, please.
cities and towns. So
Mayor,
this is no
Mayor, if I
different,
could,
and
please.
I hope that all of us will, even if you want to turn your remuneration over to the American Cancer Society or to whomever you wish, that's your prerogative. But some of us, for me, it's crowding out time that I need for other obligations in my life, and I can't justify
Mayor?
spending the needed time if there's not some compensation commensurate with the amount of time I am devoting to the
Commissioner,
job.
Commissioner,
Thank you.
if I
Thank you.
may, the issue at present is that we do have charter changes coming up. If the charter is not changed, this is the time to discuss an increase in salary. If you would like the salary to be increased, this is the time to discuss it and make some decisions. There will be charter changes. As you know, we are discussing charter changes going forward. But if it is not changed, the charter remains the governing document. If you do not-
could
if you-
explain whether the charter will be changed in January or February as well?
Commissioner, as we've discussed, there are a considerable number of changes to the charter that the commission has broached, that the commission would like to change. As you also know, the charter changes must go through the General Assembly. They must be voted on by the House and by the Senate. That can take some time. We've discussed with members, our representatives, that we would like to move this forward in January or February. There is absolutely no guarantee that any of that will occur. Not because we'd not try, not because our representatives don't want to try, but that is not within our control. Today, at the organizational meeting, is the date that the charter says you are to discuss whether or not salaries should be increased. If you would rather discuss other things, we have an entire slate of things to discuss, and I would suggest we move on. But simply saying that you'd rather do it differently, at the moment, I want you to be clear, we don't have that authority at the moment.
Mr. Mayor?
Craig, before I give you the floor, Taylor has slides. Would you prefer to go before him or let him go?
Yeah, I'll just be real quick. Ms. Ogden made my point, which is charter's not on the agenda today. We're talking about compensation, not charter. Charter's at a future meeting, so just got to keep things moving along here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. I wanted to share the slide that staff presented at the second budget meeting back in February of this year. And as you can see, it really ranges all over the place. Towards the high end is Tacoma Park, Maryland at the bottom, 25,000 for council members, 34 for mayor. And then, you know, it goes all the way down to Dewey Beach and Bethany Beach, which have no compensation at all. So it's really up to you where you want to go, but I wanted to at least present this data for you so you had an informed decision.
Mr.
Mayor, if I could, please.
Commissioner Thayer?
So two things. One is I would like someone just make a motion. If somebody wants to make a motion for a salary, let's just do it. The second thing is maybe Commissioner Stewart had this suggestion, but for those of us that would just like to donate our salary, there should be, if the city could look into some type of process to allow us to donate our salary, should we decide to do that. Thank you.
I think that's a separate conversation. We need to get back to, do we or do we not want to change the salary for the mayor and commissioners?
Mr. Mayor?
May I clarify?
Commissioner Galante?
Thank you. So I ran on a campaign of no increase in the commissioner salary. I knew what the salary was when I ran, and I accepted that. An increase in salary is not going to incentivize me. It is not going to change my performance. And I saw it as a voluntary action, this role, more or less, $600, but mostly a voluntary action. And I do not support an increase to the commissioner's salary or the mayor's salary for those reasons.
Commissioner Good?
Okay, so I think we're not going to be able, I don't want to belabor this. I'm sure you feel I have, but instead of getting something done, we're in this usual quagmire. My issue is, my understanding was we would consider two options. One would include a charter change that Ms. Ogden would have already drafted. Instead, we're sort of, all we're left with is, I will make a motion now, but I feel we've not been as transparent. The administration has not been as transparent in insisting that the current charter is the only thing under consideration, which is very constraining. It does mean that people either have to be newly elected or, be reelected. That could be as much as 3 years for people considering a 1990s, decision where we're stuck in the Stone Age as usual. So I will make a motion with the request that we draft this charter change that we can look at and consider for a vote, say, in October, as well as make a motion that each of the commissioners, I think one of my ideas to attract people who may, for whatever the reason, have had career, self-employment or other reasons why they might need Social Security credits, because there is, I read.
Commissioner Good? Commissioner Good?
I said $8,000 a year.
Commissioner Good?
I would.
What's in front of us is, do we want to increase or change the salary for the mayor and commissioner? That is the sole thing on the table in front of us, not the process, not looking ahead to the charter changes, period. If you're going to make a motion, do it based upon what I just said.
Well, please understand that I was caught a bit flat-footed because my request that this be concurrent with this charter change that would allow this to take effect relatively soon, because it's a lot of work to come to a consensus and then have it be so far off in the future. Like, people don't, people don't want to devote a lot of time as it is.
Commissioner
So my motion
Good,
would be,
Commissioner
I am
Good,
making a
you have
motion
articulated
that
that ad nauseum.
I would like to make a motion that the annual salary for each commissioner be $8,000 per year, and that the annual salary for the mayor be $18,000 per year, as soon as possible, contingent on charter changes when the Dover legislature reconvenes on January 2nd or 3rd of 2026.
Commissioner, if I might offer a friendly amendment to your motion, could we simply state that you would request that the salary of the mayor be $18,000 and the salary of the commissioners be $8,000,
Period.
period?
I would like to make a motion that the salary of the mayor be $18,000 per year and that the salary of the commissioners be $8,000 per year. Do I have a second?
That's my privilege to say that.
Okay, sorry to, intrude on it.
I would suggest somebody make a second so we can vote on it.
I'll make a second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Suzanne Good and a second by Commissioner Mark Saunders to increase the salary of the mayor from $1,000 to $18,000 a year, and to change the salary of the commissioners from $600 a year to $8,000 a year. Is there any further discussion?
Mayor,
I
just to say, I'm going to abstain from voting because of not taking compensation from the city.
We're going to pause on voting. I'd like to go to the members of the public. Is there any member of the public that would like to offer a comment one way or another? We're on the verge of voting something up or down, but Harvey, if you come, let me explain our procedure here first. We welcome everybody's input today and encourage all viewpoints to be shared. To ensure a productive discussion, we direct comments of the issues before us to the commissioners, not to the other individuals. Please remember this is a comment period. It's not a dialogue nor Q&A session. We ask that remarks remain respectful and allow others to speak uninterrupted. When recognized, please come forward, come to the center microphone, state your name and address or relationship to the city. Conform to time restrictions listed on the agenda are 3 minutes. There's a time clock up here, if you would keep an eye on it, please. These guidelines help us hear each other clearly and work together in the best interest of our communities. With that, Mr. Harvey Shulman, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Harvey Shulman, resident of Rehoboth. I'm against this. I'm against this motion. I voted here for 40 years. I voted for people who ran for office. Some candidates were in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, retired. People have done great jobs. They put a lot of time into it. Not only what you say you do, but you talk to constituents. You get a lot of input. I've heard no good argument for why you need to increase salaries other than the numbers are old. And some people would question, why isn't this a volunteer position to begin with, which essentially it is. Okay, so what's the increase for? Respect? Really? Do people feel disrespected because you're only making $600 a year? I was personally offended to hear a comment that because we don't pay enough, and the video will say what it does, we don't get good work or you don't do enough. I don't feel that about any way I voted for. If people have personal reasons not to serve, which has happened in the past, they've not run for re-election or they've resigned. They don't get up here and say, we need more money. To me, this whole conversation, especially at a time when we hear some commissioners get up and say the budget problems we're having, but somebody wants to increase the budget by close to $70,000 or $100,000 on salaries for people who are doing a great job at what you're getting. I find this whole discussion unseemly. I feel like I'm at the deathbed or a funeral or a will reading of someone, and a relative was left out and says, well, I guess the deceased didn't respect me. You know what? Maybe the money went to someone else who really needed it. Maybe the person didn't have that much money. There's all kinds of reason having nothing to do with lack of respect. But to me, it's like, really? This is not a good discussion. We started out the year here with 2 new commissioners. I think let's move ahead on the important issues for the city and not get tied up in whether someone gets 600 or 5,000 or 10,000. I'll note, the mayor of Arlington, Texas, I think I just looked this up, I don't believe in Wikipedia, but Arlington, Texas is a huge city, and at least as of a couple of years ago, the mayor's salary was something like 3,000 or 10,000. So I'm against it, and I hope you vote this down. Thank you.
Thank you, Harvey. Is there anybody else who would like to speak specific to mayor and commissioner's salary increase? John? State your name in relationship to the city, John, or address.
John Gallagher, 304 Laurel Street. I've served on the planning commission long enough that I know you guys have a lot of hours, I was amazed when I found out what your salary was. I think it could be a little more. I have to say, I served on a school board for 10 years with no salary. So people do that. However, I would recommend you get a few more dollars, maybe 1,000. I don't know. That's just my opinion because you spent a lot of time. And thank you for that.
Thank you, John. Anybody else? If not, I'll bring it back to the commissioners. Is there any further discussion before we call for a vote? Yeah. So we have a motion on the floor and a second to increase the salary to $8,000 for commissioners and $18,000 for the mayor. Commissioner Good?
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders?
I'm going to vote no, but I'd like to reserve my right to make another more modest proposal when we're done.
That's understood, certainly. Commissioner Gossett?
As I've stated before, I feel this is public service. It's an honor and a privilege to serve. But once we start paying salaries of tens of thousands of dollars, it completely changes the nature of our service and the nature of our relationships with our citizens. We become paid city employees and not public servants. So for that matter, I vote no.
Commissioner Thier?
Yeah, I'm going to vote no. Similar to what Commissioner Galante's comment earlier today, and it was a comment I had made several months ago. I knew what the compensation was when I took this job, and I just can't bring myself to vote an increase for myself. So I'm voting no.
Commissioner Stewart?
I abstain for the reasons stated earlier.
And the chair votes no.
Excuse me.
Oh.
Complete the circle.
I got, 60 people keeping an eye on me. Commissioner Galante?
Yeah, for the reasons that Harvey articulated and Commissioner Gossett articulated and my previous comments, I think it would be highly disingenuous for me to be advocating for a salary when I knew what it was and said that I didn't want an increase. I vote no.
And the results of that are the motion fails. There's 5 noes, 1 yes, and 1 abstention. We can continue discussion or we can close this out. Yes?
He did.
I have no written on my sheet, so. Is there any further discussion or otherwise we're gonna close this
Can I make a
out?
very quick motion?
Commissioner Saunders?
I'd like to make a more modest proposal. I would like to propose that commissioners be paid $2,400 a year, which is $200 a month, and the mayor be paid $3,600 a year, which, if my math is right, is $300 a month. Do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Mark Saunders and a second by Commissioner Good to increase the salary for the commissioners to $2,400 and the mayors to $3,600. That's the real fire department there. With that, is there any additional discussion by the commissioners?
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Good?
I will say that, it hasn't been easy to put myself out here, especially to hear remarks like, trying to pay ourselves tens of thousands of dollars. But it is hard with all of the fiscally irresponsible project I've tried to stop, to see a city which won't let me devote the time to being effective in that role. And I think that we have, people sometimes work for free for other motivations. There may be a lot of incentives where, we're not really learning of. I don't know. I hope the citizens get the best service up here. I don't share the belief, given some of the terrible decisions that have taken place here, especially in recent years, that we're getting people with the gravitas, with the financial background, with just good judgment that we need.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
disappointed.
gonna call the vote. Again, the motion in front of us is to increase the commissioner's salary to $2,400 and the mayor's salary to $3,600. With that, I'm gonna start off with Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Gossett,
Nay.
Commissioner Thier,
Nay.
Commissioner Stewart,
Abstain.
Commissioner Galante,
No.
Commissioner Good,
Aye.
and the chair also votes no. With that, the motion fails. Is there any further discussion? If not, we're going to put this to rest.
I'll move right along. We have several other items, and I'm hopeful that we can get through them quickly. Section 3 of the Charter discusses the structure of government and states that not less than 3 of the commissioners shall be designated resident commissioners. A resident commissioner shall be a bona fide resident and domiciliary of the city. The commissioner with the title of mayor of the city of Rehoboth shall also be a bona fide resident of the city and shall have been domiciled in the city of Rehoboth Beach for a period of at least 12 months immediately preceding the date of election. The other 3 commissioners must either have the qualifications of a resident commissioner as defined above, bona fide resident and domiciliary of the city, or be a freeholder of real estate located within the city. In the most recent election, both Commissioner Galante and Commissioner Stewart did note their resident versus non-resident status, but what we determined was that we should make sure that we are compliant at each organizational meeting of the commissioners. So I will ask each one of you to please state whether or not you are a resident or a non-resident. After that occurs, I do believe we will be compliant, but we are asking that should your status change, that you please alert the commission within 15 days. I'll start with Commissioner Galante,
Non-resident.
Commissioner Good,
Resident.
Commissioner Saunders,
Resident.
Commissioner Gossett,
Resident.
Commissioner Thier,
Resident.
Commissioner Susan Stewart,
Resident.
and the mayor.
Resident and domiciliary of the city.
Thank you very much, and we will do that at every organizational meeting. I also wanted to take a moment, I've been referring to this meeting as sort of back to school night, if you will. And I want to make sure that we are all in keeping with the policies that have been most recently adopted. One of them is the civility in the workplace policy. At present, all commissioners have been given a copy, and I would just like all commissioners to acknowledge receipt and understanding of the policy. May I just ask Commissioner Galante,
Acknowledged.
Commissioner Good,
Acknowledged, but the new civility ordinance is inherently arbitrary, capricious, and in my view, should not have been adopted. But I am in receipt of said document.
Commissioner Saunders,
Acknowledged.
Commissioner Gossett,
Acknowledged.
Commissioner Thier,
Acknowledged.
Commissioner Stewart,
Acknowledged.
the mayor.
Pretty thick. And I acknowledge.
Okay. Thank you. Right, back to school. Okay. In addition, what is interesting about the city of Rehoboth is we have what is referred to as a commissioner-manager form of government. The City of Rehoboth Beach Charter establishes a commission-manager form of government, which combines the political leadership of an elected commission with the managerial experience of an appointed manager. The elected body has the power to set policy, and it appoints a manager with broad authority to run the organization. The commission is the community's legislative and policy-making body. The commission determines the tax rate, approves the budget, and develops a long-range vision for the community's future. It focuses on strategic planning and long-term growth, capital improvement, project financing, and policies that are responsive to the community's needs. The commission hires a professional manager to implement the administrative responsibilities related to these goals. The manager prepares a budget for the commission's consideration, recruits, hires, terminates, and supervises staff, advises the commission, and carries out the commission's policy. The manager provides objective information about local operations, discusses the pros and cons of alternatives, and offers an assessment of the long-term impacts of commissioner decisions. The commission supervises the manager's performance, and it has the authority to terminate the manager. The entire city commission must receive equal information from the city manager and staff in order for the commission manager form of government to function properly. By providing equal information to all commission members, the city manager promotes transparency and ensures that everyone has the same information for decision-making. Therefore, in the interest of providing equal information and ensuring transparency, when a commission member submits his question to the city manager or staff, generally he or she will provide the question and answer concerning the inquiry to all commission members. I would simply like to request your acknowledgement that you understand the commission manager form of government. Commissioner Gallanti.
Acknowledged.
Commissioner Good.
Acknowledged.
Commissioner Saunders.
Acknowledged.
Commissioner Gossett.
Acknowledged.
Commissioner Thier.
Acknowledged.
Commissioner Stewart.
Acknowledged.
Thank you very much.
And the mayor
acknowledges.
acknowledges also.
Okay, thank you all very much. The mayor recently held up the commissioner's handbook, and all of the commissioners have received it. It includes information related to FOIA, information related to the budget, and so we did have a rather substantial onboarding of our commissioners yesterday, and I think it went very well. The last item is agenda management. I would like to thank Commissioner Thier because this was a discussion from last meeting, and he and I have discussed several times. Where's the rest of my documents? Just a second. No, I don't need that. I'm sorry, Mayor, I was going along so well, and then I fell apart. I don't know where it went. Okay. I would just like to thank Commissioner Thier. One of the issues that was raised, however, during the conversation was that it appeared as if the city was not keeping within the FOIA requirements. And while we would all like there to be improvement and changes, I want to be clear that the 7 days out of an agenda is in keeping with the Freedom of Information Act. What we have discussed since then is, I think, a very broad policy change that we can use to improve agenda management for the Board of Commissioners. And I will turn it over to the mayor to discuss it. It has been something that was discussed with Taylor and Evan and I and the mayor. We have given the pieces to Commissioner Thier, and we will turn to him after for comment, but I really do hope that it improves the process.
Thank you, Lisa. Again, this is new practices for agenda management for the Board of Commissioners. It's not intended for other boards, commissions, or committees, but again, it's specific just to the Board of Commissioners. Some commissioners have asked for consideration of changes in agenda management. I've been listening, as have the city manager, assistant city manager, city solicitor, and city secretary. Together, we have developed a policy document to respond based primarily on initial comments by Commissioner Thier on August 15th, 2025. The purpose of this document is to set clear expectations for how meeting agendas will be developed, posted, and managed for the Board of Commissioners of the City of Rehoboth Beach. This framework ensures compliance with Delaware law, promotes transparency, and provides commissioners and the public with a meaningful structure for planning and participation. Regarding the posting of agendas, we have been asked to post agendas 1, 2, and 3 months in advance of a public meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Under Delaware's Freedom of Information Act, abbreviated as FOIA, agendas must provide quote-unquote general notice of the matters to be discussed with sufficient specificity so that the public is properly informed. Issues often arise too close in time to be reliably included far in advance, and attempting to post agendas months ahead risks either omitting topics that emerge later or risks listing vague placeholders that do not meet FOIA's specificity requirements, or risks confusion caused by repeated updating, which actually violates the intent of seeking clarity and in seeking to reduce confusion in agenda content. For all these reasons, agendas will continue to be posted within the legally required time frame and updated as permitted by FOIA if additional matters arise. In the matter of discussion of future topics, we will, however, now include a standing item on each future agenda known as quote-unquote discussion of future topics. This will allow commissioners to raise subjects they believe should be addressed at a future meeting. Staff will track these suggestions and incorporate them into planning. This practice involves the public with visibility into matters that may come before the board, even if not yet ready for formal action. At appropriate intervals, as terms of soliciting commissioner input at appropriate intervals, commissioners will be asked to share their thoughts on topics of interest, priorities, or concerns that may need future attention. This process will encourage broad participation in setting the policy direction, ensure diverse perspectives are reflected in planning, and provide early notice of issues so that staff can research, draft, and schedule items in an orderly manner. And a determine as to when and how quickly an item will be placed on a formal agenda, however, cannot be the prerogative of individual commissioners, but rather a decision to be made by the mayor in consultation with the city manager. This ensures that items are scheduled in a manner that reflects priorities, legal requirements, staff preparedness, and overall meeting management. In terms of the use of technology, city staff already currently utilizes iCompass agenda management software. The iCompass software empowers local government professionals to improve community services through modern governance. Not only does this provide transparency through the public portal, it allows staff to moderate information provided through a workflow process in building the agenda packets. iCompass provides action tracking, an agenda manager module, minutes manager module, document center, online transparency, portal, board tracking, and integration with video, agendas, minutes, and more. I'd like to share with you the concept of an evergreen calendar. In addition to individual agendas, the city will maintain an evergreen calendar. This calendar will serve as a long-term planning tool highlighting key recurring dates and processes, such as the Evergreen calendar would include annual budget workshops and hearings so that they're listed and alert you many months out. These would be on the Evergreen calendar. Deadlines for tax or fee schedules would be on the Evergreen calendar. Required public hearings, for instance, permit of compliance or code changes, can be put on the evergreen calendar. And also other cyclical items that consistently return to the board's attention can be on the evergreen calendar. So this calendar will be updated regularly and used as a planning reference to help balance workloads and ensure adequate notice for significant policy or budget decisions. In terms of amendments to the meeting agenda, we have been alerted that changes to support documents after the initial time they are posted can cause confusion. Generally, the amendments to the agenda have been to add correspondence that comes in, but admittedly, it can be very confusing. So addressing this relates to the process for managing support documents, including correspondence. In order to distinguish between amended versions of support documents, we will do a better job of insisting on the use of existing formatting policy. It's already in place, and this existing formatting policy, where different versions of the same document are required to be properly titled, and red line formatting used to distinguish what changes are being made to the document, including by using strikeouts for deletions and underlining for insertions. Additionally, new protocols are being put in place to reduce the number of amendments to a specific meeting agenda. In our new protocol, we'll try our best to limit amendments to one time. Although in doing so, we need to recognize there are trade-offs. If support documents don't come in timely, then there's a possibility of having to cancel that topic. Support documents ideally are to be received by the city secretary by noon 1 week prior to the meeting date. But if this target date is missed, then there is only one more chance, a second chance for embedment as follows. Support documents for workshops are to be received by noon on Wednesdays prior to the workshop. And support documents for regular meetings are to be received by noon on the Tuesday preceding the regular meeting. Similarly, correspondence is to be received using the same time schedules, and if correspondence misses the deadline for receipt and embedment into the agenda, then correspondence will be distributed as hard copy to the commissioners prior to the meeting and embedded into the agenda following the meeting. In terms of public comment at commissioners' meetings, public comment is an important, very important part of the commissioners' meeting. It ensures residents and stakeholders have the opportunity to share views and participate in the decision-making process. Public comment provides residents and stakeholders the opportunity to share views on matters of community concern. Public comment ensures transparency and inclusivity in the decision-making process. In terms of the agenda language for Rehoboth Beach Board of Commissioners meeting, the language at the conclusion of the agenda at the bottom of your agenda reads, quote, "The public will be provided the opportunity to make comments regarding public hearings, old business, new business, committee reports, and the budget." Continuing, it says, comments are limited to 3 minutes, one time per topic, or at the discretion of the chair. Speakers are to state their name and address or relationship to the city. Continued, it says, comments on non-agenda topics will be heard under citizen comment, quote unquote, with the same requirements and time limits. In terms of time limits, being more specific, each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to ensure fairness and allow time for all voices to be heard. The chair may, at their discretion, allow more time for an individual speaker and/or allow for speaking on a topic more than one time. In terms of the scope of comments, public comment may be offered on any item, as says in the agenda. Public comment may be offered on any item of old business, new business, committee reports, the budget, and public hearings. Non-agenda topics may be raised under citizen comment with the same requirements and time limits. Comments are to be respectful of all perspectives, can be shared and heard, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. I want to make it clear that a comment period is not a question and answer session. Public comment is for sharing opinions and information. It's not a debate or back and forth discussion. Commissioners may listen but are not expected to respond during the comment period. Under quote-unquote citizen comment at the end of the agenda, questions for the city manager that can be easily answered will be answered. For example, where can this document be found? When is this event? Those will be answered, but generally, questions for staff may be directed to the city manager or to the relevant staff person following the meeting in the email thereafter. This is a new protocol. The city manager is going to stay after the meeting so that he can address your questions in person. In closing, agenda management is a balancing act between legal compliance, transparency, and effective planning. By clarifying why agendas cannot be posted months in advance, and by reducing the number of amendments to the agenda, and by better management and identifying amendments of support documents, by adding a regular future topics discussion item, by soliciting input from commissioners, by maintaining an evergreen calendar, and by clarifying the process and importance of public comment, by implementing these 7 new practices, the City of Rehoboth Beach will strengthen its ability to manage meetings responsibly while remaining open and responsive to the community. Again, as I prefaced, these new practices have been developed through conversation with the city manager, the assistant city manager, city solicitor, and city secretary, who each have a role in assisting the mayor in developing agendas and in overall agenda management. With that, I'll turn it to the commissioners. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, if I could, Mayor.
I'm sorry. Let me go to Commissioner Thier first then.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Maybe you could go ahead and bring up the agenda item report for agenda management. And Mayor, I don't think we're too far off, but I think there are some things where I would like, I don't think we're too far off in what you presented. So let me kind of go through what I'm thinking. And again, I want this to be collaborative. My intent here, and we discussed this last time, so I'm not going to get into some of the details that we discussed at the last meeting, but this is about efficiency, it's about effectiveness, it's about bilateral communication with the public, and ultimately transparency. We need to speed up the meetings, we need to be more effective in the meetings, we need to be planning. I envision 3 documents going forward. The first one is what we have today, which is essentially the agenda, right? This is what we have out today is the agenda. The second document I envision is not an agenda, but a future agenda items list. This could be, and again, we get into definitional terms here, but it would be agenda items, initiatives, topics coming up that the commissioners need to be discussing. That is the list where commissioners, if there's something they're looking to add, an initiative they want to look to add to that list, that's where during the standing agenda item that you just noted in your presentation, you talked about, and again, I'm using probably some different terms here, but each meeting, we're going to have a standing agenda item where we're going to discuss future agenda item topics. So this future agenda items list, right? Not necessarily an agenda, but a list of upcoming items. During that agenda item discussion, any commissioner could introduce a new topic. If 4 people support it, right? Again, we're working on a majority here. If the majority supports it, I shouldn't say 4, but if the majority supports it, if it's only 5 people here and 3 support it, well, it goes on the list. Also during that conversation, there's 2 other things I'd like to see when we're talking about future agenda items. One is sequencing, timing, and so on. And I think this is a good point to mention that, or really kind of note that, as Ms. Ogden said earlier, right, we are a city manager form of government, right? We're commissioner, city manager form of government. It's the city manager and the city solicitor responsibility to manage and maintain the agenda. Kind of from our perspective. I know there's support staff that report to both of you that are involved in that process, but I'm going to just address it from where we sit as commissioners. Okay, so we create a future agenda items list. The last, what I refer to as recurring agenda items, is I think is equivalent to your evergreen calendar, okay? Which those recurring standing items that come up, whether it's quarterly, yearly, whatever it may be. There are things that we need to make sure get on there, not just the reorganization meeting, but we're supposed to be doing quarterly financial updates. Taylor does his quarterly update on his strategic plan, on his goals and objectives. Let's have those on there. Let's specify in that evergreen calendar when we're going to do it. If we're going to do it once a quarter, are we doing it, January, April, and so on, so that if residents are interested in coming and viewing those presentations, they know when to show up. So evergreen calendar, to me, it's as much as publishing what we do on a regular basis, but giving the public the opportunity to know when it's going to be so they can plan when to show up. So coming back to the agenda, which is the current form, what I'm referring to as the current format, but it's the agenda that we do today. I'd like to see, as you've proposed, we have an agenda item to do a couple of things. One, we're going to review the next meeting's agenda. At that point, you should be in a position where you can tell us what we're going to be talking about next meeting. I'd like to see a draft of the agenda for the next meeting, and just to kind of be clear, when I talk about the next meeting, we're currently sitting in the regular meeting for September. So, for example, we'd have an agenda item on this agenda where we'd be talking about the agenda for the October 6th workshop meeting. Also during that discussion, city manager, city solicitor can provide updates on the future agenda item list. Commissioners could propose additional agenda items, talk about sequencing of agenda items on the future agenda items list. And I think that covers most of that. I talked about the future agenda items list. Again, for the most part with future agenda items, there's really no secrecy here, right? In my agenda item report, one of the things that I mentioned was CDP, board goals. As a Board of Commissioners, we don't have goals. We should have goals. We should be starting to talk about goals over the next couple of months for the next year. But between the goals in the CDP, the Board of Commissioner goals that we set, the goals that Mr. Tedder sets, we generally know what the upcoming agenda items are going to be. So there's really no secrecy here. It's just a matter of sequencing them, the timing of them, and what the priorities are. And then I won't go into the recurring agenda item list. So, Mayor, I think we're pretty close. I think you mentioned 2 documents, an agenda and an evergreen. I think there's 3 documents. I think there's an agenda. I think there's a future agenda items list, which is separate from the evergreen. And then I think there's just more dialogue during each meeting when we get to the discussion on future agenda items to discuss what's on the future list, give the commissioners the opportunity to introduce new items, get support for those new items, and of course discuss sequencing, timing, and priorities.
All right. We'll give it consideration. Is there any other comments up here
Mayor?
before we go to the public? Commissioner Good?
I have an overarching concern. I have a number of times brought up items not on the agenda, either during commissioner comment or I've alluded to them at other times. I believe, based on both Robert's Rules of Order and advice I've gotten from fairly experienced attorneys, when things are stated by a public official in public session, any topic is fair game, and we have a consistent concern that somehow only the mayor can determine what's discussed in published session. I think the public being informed of things in advance is helpful. And some of these, most of the topics I brought up have to do with spending and with problems with contracts coming in well over what was budgeted, material, actionable topics. So I hope in the course of setting the agenda, we become less rigid and we recognize that commissioners can bring up basically any topic they wish. It's in public session, it's on a video, there's transparency, nothing precludes that. So I'd appreciate some consideration in these agendas in recognizing that commissioners have free reign almost in what should be brought up. Because frankly, some of these topics, we spent like 2 hours dealing with the sale of parkland. I didn't even want to go to a public hearing on that. So we sometimes dwell on things that we shouldn't even spend more than 2 minutes on. So why not allow people to bring up germane topics to citizens, residents, property tax owners, business owners? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else up here for Commissioner Stewart?
Mayor and city manager and solicitor, I applaud this because a big feedback we were receiving on the campaign trail was that citizens don't feel like they know how to get things that are important to them in front of this body. And I think by having greater input from the commissioners and some process, it will increase that bridgeway between citizen needs and our responsiveness. And I think having a longer-term calendar where you can see the regular items, and then a number of people aren't full-time residents. So, it's nice for them to have some visibility even on these sort of what I'll call ad hoc things that are on the working list. And, they know they can monitor it, and if it falls off, it doesn't actually get to the formal agenda, but it gives them some runway. So I think it's terrific. I also want to say, I went back and read the charter about, agenda and then the different responsibilities, and it was very interesting to me that I learned that the mayor is the chief executive officer of the city manager is the chief administrative officer of the city, and there's actually one sentence that asks, that says the commissioners are bound to go through the city manager and not directly to staff. And I think we'd like to get this place really humming, especially this body, but I think that would help our city run more appropriately, and in fact, it's required by the charter.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I could,
Commissioner
please.
Dare?
Yeah, so I just want to come back to your comment before you pass it off to Commissioner Good that you take it under consideration. I'm looking today to walk away from this conversation with a very specific path forward. I've proposed 3 documents, right, going forward. I've proposed some changes to the way we're going to do agendas. My hope is that the city manager and the solicitor are going to come back and say, hey, I hear you, the 3 documents. We'll come back at the next meeting with some options for you. I don't want to say some options, but let us come back to the commissioners with some structures around those 3 documents that we can discuss and move forward with. As Commissioner Stewart said, I'm gonna add on to this, Charter Section 11, Rules and Minutes of the Commissioners. I'm just gonna read really the first line, which is, the commissioners shall determine its rules and order of business, ... There's nothing in the charter that gives you the authority to set the agenda. My understanding from talking to people who have lived in this town for decades, that's been a privilege afforded to the mayor. This is not the same town it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. We are a city manager form of government here. As this city has gone from a 3-month town to a 12-month town, we need to be relying more on the city manager and the solicitor to run this town. We have our oversight responsibilities, but from an oversight responsibility perspective, me getting an agenda 7 days in advance and then trying to prepare for a meeting, that's just not going to work, right? So We need visibility. We need transparency. We can't spend,
Commissioner,
I'm going to
forgive me.
finish.
No, well, just
I'm
to
not
be
going to
clear.
I'm not going to spend a year
No, no, no.
talking about committees.
No. But I'm just saying to remember, whether or not it doesn't work for you, which I appreciate,
Yep.
we're working on trying to make it easier for you, but it is within the requirements of FOIA. And as we've discussed several times, it is not in violation of FOIA. So our change in process, yes, we were changing the process. But to be clear, as we've discussed several times, what the city is doing presently is not in violation of FOIA.
I don't think I said that what the city is currently doing is in violation of FOIA.
No, I don't think you said it was in violation, but you sort of intimated that it was in fact not working for you and thus wrong. And what I'd be clear is that it isn't, maybe it isn't working for you, which is hence the whole entire conversation and the conversation that you and I and Taylor have had almost every day for the last week. We're truly working on getting it to a point, a new process, a new procedure, new documents, a new way of functioning.
Yep.
So if you would grant us that, I mean, I think from Taylor and I perspective, we've done an amazing job in the last 10 days, and that's really where we started. So if you would give us just a few more days, we'll work with you and continue to get to the point where you're comfortable.
So am I getting a commitment here, you know, Mr. Tedder and Ms. Ogden, that you're going to come back with something in the form of, again, I've said 3 documents. I'm open to suggestions and flexibility here, but again, I'm not going to speak for my fellow commissioners here, but I need to see the upcoming agenda more than 7 days in advance, okay? Because I need to prepare for a meeting. I need to see the future agenda items in some type of list, okay? All of us need to have the opportunity to review those, discuss those in our public sessions, okay? Again, I'm not speaking for my fellow commissioners here, but as city manager and with the help of the solicitor, we're looking for your guidance, right? We want you to be developing this future list, but there may be things that are coming up out in the community you may not be aware of that we want to discuss or potentially, you know, put on the list. Maybe it's timing, maybe it's sequencing, and then of course the evergreen calendar. So again, I'm going to stop. I think other commissioners, you know, should make some comments here, or maybe they want to wait to hear from the public first, but then come back and let's hear from other commissioners.
So I do want to just address that we will be creating sample documents for the next meeting, which will come here. You can definitely provide feedback on those documents at that time. I believe the list of agenda items will literally cover the future agenda. So you will have what's on the future agenda with the current plan that we've created. So I think you're going to get everything that you're looking for, and we definitely are making that commitment to do that.
Yeah, I would just like to, you know, again, this is me talking. There's, you know, other commissioners up here as well. I would like to see at least 2 separate documents, right? Are what the mayor referred to as the evergreen calendar, which is the recurring items, and then the stuff that is agenda items, priorities, initiatives, whatever it may be. And I know you're shaking your head. I know you understand what I'm saying. For me, it just makes it much easier for me to glance down the two separate lists. So.
We'll see.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Anybody else? Did Commissioner Galante?
I watched the September 8th Board of Commissioner meeting with great interest when this topic was discussed. Commissioner Thier, I think, did a really good job of synthesizing how I have felt about agenda management and Commissioner ability to engage and prepare. I think the proposal that was just outlined is a good increase or advancement in terms of agenda management. But one of the things that in particular I'd really like to see is something that Commissioner Thier mentioned around having a discussion at the end of a meeting about the agenda for a future meeting. If we could make sure that that is included, city solicitor and city manager, in your planning, I think it would go a long way to making us collectively feel good, as well as members of the community, and optimizing outcomes and decision-making.
That is the plan, to have the item at the end of the meeting.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Good?
I fully support Commissioner Thier in his efforts to get a more formal means of communicating both to the Board of Commissioners and to all the citizens what issues are being taken up, because priorities often don't seem to be sorted out properly. And I think the current system is simply broken. I think that I began asking at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025 that we deal with those newspaper boxes impeding pedestrians, some of which are filled with trash. I've sent photos to the city manager. And instead of taking this up within, say, some reasonable time frame, like 2 months, it got put finally on the August agenda, so that's already like 8 or 9 months later. Then that meeting was summarily canceled with about 8 days or 7 days notice. And then once it was brought before us, there was a complex ordinance proposed to license these newsstands, so we really didn't get anywhere. But the main problem was there wasn't even any promise to take action, to have streets or someone else remove the newsstands which have been empty for a year, which literally I found several where inconsiderate people had put used carryout containers in there. I guess they couldn't trouble themselves to go to the trash can that's within 50 feet. So it feels as though even when things are brought before us, there's no resolution. I wasn't asking for us to create a new ordinance with a licensing fee. I feel like the cynic in me makes me think we're almost creating work to justify the ever-increasing number of staff in City Hall, and that's what it felt like. So I fully support Commissioner Thier, but I would like also that we come to some consensus maybe at either each meeting or every other meeting as to which items are higher priority, because these meetings go on for so long, we can't possibly bring up all the topics that everyone wishes we bring up. That's like untenable, not feasible. So I appreciate the time Commissioner Thier is putting into this.
Thank you, Suzanne.
And,
Thank
so
you.
let's hope we make some progress.
I'd like to go to the members of the public. Would you like to say anything on this topic? Hoyt, come on ahead. Up to the center microphone, please. No, I would like you to.
He's singling me out again. I prefer this. I've got documents in it.
I'd like you to, everybody is at the front. Your name and address.
Congratulations. Excuse me, Hoyt Decker, like you don't know me, Laurel Street. I'm actually going to give you some documents which I believe are related to the topic. And for me, what we're talking about here is communication. And I'm sorry, maybe I missed it, but I don't think I heard anything where the public is going to have an opportunity to offer suggestions, put possible topics, as you're referring to it, up for consideration. Is that, where might that fall into the picture?
To be determined, but I think that would be expected.
That would be expected? Wonderful, okay. If I may, I'm just going to hand these out.
Thank you.
I'm just telling you, I'm a lot better over there. What I've got here is suggestions or my thoughts on communicating, both in the context of what you're deliberating, but also for individual comments on matters that are not before the board at the moment. So I'm hoping you'll give some consideration to that, and maybe we can talk about it some more. Thank you.
Thank you, Hoyt. Anybody else? Harvey?
Harvey Schulman, Henlopen Avenue. Thank you for these proposals. I think after a long time, this is definitely moving in the right direction. Few points. One, I heard about the discussion of future agendas among the commissioners, which would give the commissioners a chance to prepare for meetings that are more than 7 days away, but also that helps the public prepare. So you're not only, when you do that, helping yourselves, you're helping us be more informed about what we want to talk about and get the information not at the last minute. And then I heard about the open forum at the end of the meeting. I'll call it open forum. I understood that to include what Hoyt was saying about if any member of the public wants to get up and suggest something for a future agenda, they could do it. So I think that's great. One thing that's been done in the past, off and on, mostly on, but sometimes off, the agendas have distinguished between discuss and consider item X, or discuss and possible vote on item X. It would really, really, really be helpful if you send a signal to the public whether there's a possibility that you're actually going to vote on something at that meeting, and not a pro forma. Every meeting is, consider and possible vote, consider and possible vote. But when you really feel that it might come up, let us know that, because that's different from saying you're going to discuss an item. There's actually case law in the state on, how that can be confusing to people depending on what it says and doesn't say. And the last item I wanted to bring up is one commissioner made a comment that any commissioner should be able to bring up anything they want about any topic they want. Well, as the city solicitor said, there's FOIA. So there's a difference between mentioning something, bringing it up, saying, oh, this is something for the future, and getting into a substantive discussion of it, particularly when the matter is not under the agenda, on the agenda. You may like to do that, but the city and other cities have gotten in trouble with the state a number of times when that's gone into a full-blown discussion. So I urge you to please keep that point in mind. It's not just the rules you adopt here. They've got to be consistent with good practice, information to the public, and the state FOIA Act. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harvey. Anybody else? If not, I think we've got some guidance.
Mayor?
Commissioner Gossett?
Yes, thank you, if I may. However we proceed, as I understand it, we'll have a presentation by the city solicitor and the city manager at the next workshop or the next regular meeting. Is that to be determined, of documents of agenda management? Has that been established?
The next workshop.
Next workshop. So we're committed to those presentations at the next workshop. One of the things that is of interest to me, the way I read FOIA, and I don't know if we are interpreting it one side, if you will, but that 7 days FOIA regulation is a minimum standard. There is nothing preventing us from having a list of agenda items or agenda topics greater than 7 days. 7 days is the minimum. That is, if you will, the firewall that nothing else can be added or something of that nature. So part of your presentation, if you will, during the workshop next, I would ask that you also address that issue of, or just confirm that the 7 days is a minimum of what can be published or available for FOIA. But as I understand it, in my reading of it, it does not prevent us from having anything further in a greater time frame than that, beyond the 7, 14, 21 days, what have you. So to produce an annual calendar, an evergreen calendar, whatever you want to call it, of topics that must be addressed by, that are outlined in the charter, or other things that we have instituted through other policies and procedures established by the commission, those should be listed in that evergreen calendar. And however this resolves itself, I would also ask that that be presented in a written policy so that not only this commission, but future commissions will understand it, as well as the public. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, we're going to move.
Mayor, if I could, please?
Commissioner
One final
Thier.
comment. Thank you, Commissioner Gossett. And to add a little bit to what Commissioner Gossett said, and even where Mr. Schulman was going with FOIA, FOIA is definitely going to apply here. So as Commissioner Gassa was saying, and I'm looking at Ms. Ogden, I think we're going to need to be clear with the public. As items get raised, what can get raised and what discussion can actually occur about a new item that gets raised in a meeting versus it having to be pushed forward to a different agenda to have a more detailed discussion. My understanding, as Commissioner Gassa was saying, the 7 days is really, when it boils down to it, is you can't add stuff to an agenda, right? Once you put the agenda out, you can't add items to the agenda. The public needs 7 days notice on things that are going to be discussed. If things get removed, that's fine. Obviously, you don't want to try, you want to remove things unless there's, a good reason because you're just confusing the public, but that's where the 7 days comes in. So you can certainly be putting a draft agenda out there 10, 14 days in advance, and then if some things drop off for whatever reason it is, at least there's a good understanding amongst the commissioners and the public what's coming up at the next meeting. We're not just finding out 7 days in advance. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we're going to move on. The next item of business actually starts our regular business is correspondence. And we're going to reference the correspondence from Susan Gay, President of RBHA, during the related topic, which is the Children's Fishing Pier. There are no approval. What?
Committees,
Oh, committee, during
eligibility.
committees, okay. Approval of minutes, there are none to approve at this meeting. City Manager's report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. As everyone knows, September 15th marked the end of the parking season here in the city of Rehoboth Beach. So the parking department has cleaned out and covered all of the meters, and parking spaces around town appear very full. So next month, we will have an end-of-season report. We'll report on the performance. The citywide paving and water main replacement finished this week, its first week this week. Water was shut off for several hours on Wednesday to cap off the main at the end of Munson near Bayard. A new 8-inch water main pipe is being installed. The contractor is working Monday through Thursday, and several homeowners are replacing their sewer laterals at their expense, contracted through a private plumber, and a few are taking advantage of the reduced contract rates that we receive for sidewalk and or apron replacement on their driveways as well. On Christian Street, we will be installing a sidewalk where none exists currently on the north side close to Bayard, which will join the existing sidewalk to that street. The work on Christian Street won't start for about another 2 weeks. Yesterday, early afternoon, a 12-inch water main leak was discovered on the westbound side of Rehoboth Avenue Extended across from Crystal Restaurant and Diego's. The water department worked with George and Lynch and DelDOT to perform emergency repairs to our infrastructure. City Water Department and George and Lynch crews were on the scene until about 1 a.m. last night. So you can see there's a new large patch in the road as you head down Rehoboth Avenue Extended, but I want to extend my sincere thanks to our water department crew because they work very hard. And on September 9th, the city received our draft 2025 Municipal Equality Index. The MEI is the only nationwide assessment of municipal laws, policies, and services that are inclusive of LGBTQ plus communities. Localities are based on non-discrimination laws, the municipality as an employer, municipal services, law enforcement, and leadership on LGBTQ plus equality. Prior to and since receiving the draft scorecard, we've responded to any noted deficiencies by providing updates and corrections to the MEI team. The deadline was today to submit those, and we did. So the MEI team is finalizing their plans to launch the index this fall and will notify us when we receive our final score. So I'm here for any questions you may have, and thank you.
Any questions? Commissioner Gossett?
Yeah, thank you. The water main break, is that attributed to infrastructure aging, or was there reasoning behind it at all?
I'll have Henry expand on that for
Thank
you.
The Commissioner, the break was right across from Diego's, and that's a 12-inch cast iron line. Not sure when that was replaced, but it is, we get about one main break every 18 months or so. It's actually the first one since I've been here, on like an 8 or 10 or 12 or 16-inch line. So it's kind of typical the way the break occurs, where it occurs unilaterally around the circumference. And again, it does happen from time to time. We don't have any plans to replace that main anytime soon.
So it has been replaced with cast iron or?
No, sorry, it was patched. You have it's kind of like a, Navy called it a bandit. It's it's about this wide and goes around and wraps around the current pipe.
Anybody else for the city manager?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Good?
if Mr. Matlos would be willing to supply us maybe with a map and the ages of the various water mains and sewer mains. This is a recurring problem, as we all know. There was a sewer line main break on, I believe it was either Munson or Stokely Street, wasn't there, about 4 months, sometime in June? So, I mean, all of us know, aging infrastructure is such a, a problem. And I haven't seen a map with the schedule of like replacements. Like right now we're doing Munson Street. It would be helpful for us to see what sort of ages we're talking about, like whether 1990s, 1980s in some cases. Just, I don't know. It's something I would appreciate. It's something I was thinking about in the context of these recurrent breaks, and that would be great.
I'll definitely investigate what data we do have, and I know that our GIS system is pretty robust, so that might have some information in there related to mapping. So I'll see what we have and send out what we're able to provide.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Henry. With that, we're going to move along. You have any more for the city manager's report? You're done. City solicitor's report? Nothing to report. Departmental reports, you can see that there's some departmental reports embedded in the agenda. We typically don't go over those, but instead we do have a in-person departmental briefing for the police department. Evan or Chief?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, commissioners, and concerned citizens, and congratulations to the two new commissioners. Welcome. Is there any questions or anything about this monthly submitted report before I get into the briefing? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. This is going to be a quick briefing on some things that we're doing, about less than 5 minutes. However, what this won't include is a end of season report, which will come in 3 or 4 weeks, where I'll actually present how the summer season went to each of you. So I thought it was important to first just start off with our organizational structure. And we are authorized 22 officers. We're currently at 21, and I say 21 because tonight 2 of the academy recruits graduate after attending academy for 5.5 months. And also that will bring us up to 21. The one short that we're behind, we're in a hiring process, is to replace Sergeant Scott O'Bear that retired earlier in June after 28 years. I think it's important to say in January, I had my administrative assistant, Marion Jones, retire after 31 years. We ended up just bringing somebody that was already in-house up to that person. So instead of having 2, a clerk and assistants, we just combined the jobs. So we are not replacing the second person. We decided that that was not needed. The communication center 911, where have the total of 13. That's with the manager. We have 1 open hire, and that is only because of 12. When my dispatcher submitted their resignation, they got hired full-time as a police officer in the city of Wilmington and start the academy end of this month. So we wish them well. Seasonal officers, what I will say is we're already moving forward in hiring process for next year. The recruiting has already begun to hire the 16. We're in a battle with other Ocean City, Bethany, other departments and all. So we've gone ahead with that. I will say housing assistance was a big help in getting applicants last year and will continue this year under the city manager supervision. So we appreciate that. In the CIP, we were budgeted and approved for a pole building out back to replace a shed that was, quite honestly, handed down several years ago to us that was falling apart. We re-roofed and tried to keep it up as much as possible, and it was just literally falling down around us, and some of the equipment inside was rusting and issues. So this pole building will replace that, and we'll put our bicycle patrol unit in there, the UTVs. We have message boards, gonna be receiving a couple light towers and things. All of those we can keep inside instead of rusting out and maintain our equipment. What I wanted to say about this, we have all the prices. We went out, got 3 different quotes. Everything was under budget. All the permitting is complete. We thought it was important if we're gonna expect other outside entities to get permits. We want to make sure we got the permits through the city and all that, add in all the approval. So that has been done, and I'm glad to say within the next 1 or 2 weeks, they should be ready to start that project. One thing we've been working on and was in the budget approved last year was to put a system in place, and what we went with is Frontline. It's a web-based platform consisting of multiple modules to organize and track numerous police functions. Because we're hodgepodge in so many things, like when we were doing our training, we just put on Excel spreadsheets and bring it in. We just needed a platform that was consistent and was robust and be able to go within house back and forth and maintain and be able to people upload things up into the portal. So with that, what we were looking at, we went with Frontline, and it has a like a body-worn camera audit trail. So we do that every month. Every officer gets reviewed, randomly pulled body-worn camera audits to check on that. Not to get a gotcha or anything like that, but just to make sure there isn't any issues that we see that somebody didn't call in. But sometimes it can be just looking at to make sure it's officer safety. They're not doing something that just kind of alarms us. There's training tracker where we'll sit there and they can request training and see it run all the way through if it gets approved or not, and help us out with budgeting and all with per diems and hotels and things like that. We have a tracker for our evaluations, and we put our goals. It's very robust and very detailed on what each officer or dispatcher does. And I am glad to say that we don't just do our evaluations once a year. We give twice a year complete evaluations, but it continues throughout the year. So the supervisors sit down and can track with anything, the goals, see where they're at, if they're meeting standards or need to work on anything. So we have that in place. The one thing that is going to come with us that we're going to be putting out that I thought was important to mention is a Community Policing Connect that we went ahead and just purchased, and we'll be putting that out this fall and winter. And it's really going to help, well, it's going to do multiple functions like vacation watch, directed patrols, online citizen reporting, emergency contact, key holders for businesses. We already have some of that in the city, but it's through the city website side, and then we don't always get that information after hours who to contact. So we'll be able to put that in there. But for the citizens, they'll be able to go to that and say, hey, I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks, 3 months. And can you do checks? And when we go around there, officers, since web-based, will just be sitting there, can do it almost through our CAD, and it will send an email that we just checked your home or your business and things, and keep track of that. So I think there's a lot of good, helpful things that's going to come to that, and it's just how it's going to be set up here through your email or maybe even your cell phone as a text message. So we're looking really excited about that. You may have seen some and heard and read about flock safety, license plate readers. I'm glad to sit there and say that our cameras were installed and operational in March. We have a transparency portal that went live in August, and we're the only ones that put that out there in the state of Delaware. That's not necessarily normal to put out. And what I did want to mention about that, the cameras do detect license plate in vehicles, and we can, when we're looking for something, if there's a bumper sticker or something on there to describe the vehicle. What it does not do, the cameras do not detect facial recognition, people, gender, race, anything to that, and it doesn't keep it. And it's important to know that when we're investigating, we can't just pull up the cameras and look. There has to be a valid reason why. So if we have a police investigation going on, we'll put that complaint number in and sit and look through it. But we have to put in there why, and there's an audit trail. So it's really got securities. We're not just on a hunt to see what we can find. It's really sitting there running license plates to see if somebody's wanted and things like that. It has been very useful already for the hit and run accidents that unfortunately are increasingly here in Rehoboth Beach, and it's been able to help us solve several of those incidents because people get partial plates or a color of a vehicle, and we can sit there and look at that. So that's been very helpful. I wanted to bring up our police accreditation. We are currently working on accreditation with the Delaware Police Accreditation Commission. Our goal is to be accredited in Q1 of 2026. We're scheduled a mock assessment on December 1st of this year, and I don't see any issues with that, so we should pass with flying colors. We're a little bit behind, and the reason why I say that is we're working on CALIA, another national standard, and it just got harder and harder with our seasonal police officers on board to get us accredited because they want us to teach the summer officer everything we do for a full-time officer, and obviously we can't do 12 weeks of field training. The season will be over. We can't put them in academy for 5 months and all. So we kind of had to take a step back because we couldn't wait any longer when they were talking about changing that for summer officers, and it never came through. As most of you know, our dispatch center has been accredited for many years. We have to get reaccredited every 3 years, but let me back up. We were first in state of Delaware to become tri-aced and 17th in the world to get this accreditation. So I think that's very important to know that we keep the high standards here in Rehoboth Beach. Currently, with the recertifications, our fire department module is complete and we're accredited again. And we're still working on the EMD and EPD, but they're submitted, they're in progress, and we've been told that it's going to pass. So no issues or concerns with that. So congratulations to Nick Pretty and his entire team. I just quickly wanted to sit there and say that this time of year, we're really working hard on our community outreach. If you're not familiar, monthly we meet with Camp Rehoboth to just work on the messaging. That is with Assistant City Manager Evan and I. We've been hosting homeowners or going to homeowners association meetings on City Manager and myself the last month. There's actually another one tomorrow, Cottages by the Sea, that we're attending. We've been doing having some meetings with houses of worship. We're looking at Coffee with a Cop. Faith in Blue is October 11th. We'll be having a barbecue. Anybody can walk by. I'm over at the firehouse and pick up some barbecue that's free of charge. And that we're out there again just to meet and greet, and we'll be assisting, and we've been invited to help out with the fire prevention. That is October 5th. And I see the fire company's here, so I'm sure they'll mention a little bit more about that. And I will just finish up by saying that October is one of our busiest months for events, so we're preparing for that. Just to give a little bit of a flavor, Dewey Goes Pink that we help out with is on October 4th. We have the Alzheimer's Walk on the 4th, the Fire Prevention is on the 5th, Buddy Walk, Jazz Festival, Bark to the Boards, Lung Force Walk, Camp Block Party, the Big Sea Witch Festival, and the Heart Walk, just to name some. So it's a busy time down here, but we love it and we're very fortunate. And do you have any questions?
Any questions of the commissioners? No. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
With that, the board and commission reports embedded in the agenda. The next thing on the item is committee reports. There are no committee reports. I would like to just give you status of the 5 advisory committees and the task force that we decided to sunset on September 12th. We sunset the Parking Garage Task Force and the Trees and Green Infrastructure Committee. Previously, we had sunset the Boardwalk and Beach Committee and Animal Issues, and that leaves us to sunset the Street and Transportation Committee and the Environment Committee. And again, this is all at the request of the commissioners to change the committee structure. So we're moving on there. The next item is community partner reports. They're embedded in the agenda. We're going to move on to old business A. My prerogative, I'm going to change the sequencing here a little bit. We're going to do old business A, Village Improvement Association. Then we're going to skip down to new business A, community partner grant recipient reports, which is oral reports. And then we will go back up to old business B, advisory committees, and then continue with the agenda. It will allow the grant recipient reporters to get out a little bit earlier. So with that, we're going to the Village Improvement Association, the VIA, replacement of existing children's fishing pier and 2 components. Consider approval of final design and consider adoption of funding agreement between the city and the VIA. Evan?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor, commissioners, and members of the public. And I'd like to welcome our 2 new commissioners as well. It's great to have you on board. Provided in the agenda is an agenda item report on the topic that we're discussing today. And I wanted to provide just a brief bit of background, not only for our new commissioners that might not have had an opportunity to listen to the last meeting, but also for our members of the public, since we have a lot more in attendance today. So over the past 3 years, the City of Rehoboth Beach has engaged in a pretty comprehensive discussion about replacement or reconstruction of the fishing pier on Lake Girard. In 2022, we were approached by the VIA after an anonymous donor pledged $250,000 towards the replacement of the fishing pier. So our first step as a city staff was to review the existing condition of that fishing pier, which we did, and we did confirm that the pier is in a structural decline. That led us to impose a 25-person limit on the pier, and we actually did conduct several repairs recently on that pier, mainly just replacements to some of the pier decking and then some of the railing. You can notice, if you ever visited, the difference in color of those planks. We did seek community input on the proposed reconstruction of the pier through various meetings and discussions with residents. We also engaged with SOLA 3 and also tried to incorporate maybe some potential changes to the pier, some ADA compliant features. So where we are today is we have 2 designs in which the commissioners need to discuss and consider so that you all can give us direction on how to proceed with the final design. And then we also have drafted, and it's in the agreement, a proposed funding agreement with the VIA just to formalize that funding commitment from the anonymous donor. $200,000 of the $250,000 will be used for the construction of the pier, while $50,000 will be put in a interest-bearing escrow account with those funds used for future repairs to that fishing pier. There were 3 takeaways or 3 requests for additional information at our last meeting, which is really what I wanted to present today. And again, there's an agenda item report which provides background on this topic. There's the proposed funding agreement as well as an updated presentation on the fishing pier, all included in the agenda. But what I wanted to touch on was the 3 pieces of information that were asked of us at the last meeting to bring back to this meeting. The first was to take a look at the proposed budget and factor in any potential cost escalation related to unknown conditions in the lake with either replacing the pier at the existing location or cantering it out just a little bit, which we've done. The second item was to update the schedule, which is provided again in this presentation. And then the third was just to provide a rough price for if we were to have done the soil testing and analysis prior to proceeding with the concept. What would that have cost? I think you'll recall at the last meeting, Bob Palmer said that it was his idea to not go ahead and proceed with a lot of that soil testing, geotechnical testing, and rather just, we know that the pier is there now. We know that the lake will support a pier, so as we get out there and actually do construction, we'll make adjustments as needed, but he didn't think it made sense to spend the money to do all of that study to tell us what we would eventually find out anyway. So backing up, cost escalation. Bob was not here, and Bob is with Beacon Engineering, for those who's not aware. Bob did provide a potential cost escalation. He's recommending roughly a 30% increase for differing site conditions, which could potentially bring that budget, again, just to add a little bit of a buffer, up to 258. It's a little bit hard to see that because of the yellow, so I apologize, but $258,400. The pre-design construction budget, this is for the pier in the existing location, but also the pier positioned further out into the lake is the same. It's essentially the same size. So that pre-design construction budget was $198,759. And then if you add a 30% sort of contingency, again, just to factor in any differing site conditions, recommended budget to include in the upcoming fiscal year budget would be $258,400. I'm going to just touch on the last two items that we were asked to come back and present, and then we can take any questions you might have. Second was the updated schedule. So you can see here that we have updated the schedule through this process. You know, we are contracted with Beacon Engineering right now to proceed through design, construction, document preparation, and permitting. So you can see the updated schedule there, which would put advertisement for bids around July, August. So we'll have ample time to ensure that we get through the design process, begin the permitting process, and we can budget the actual construction of the pier in the upcoming fiscal year budget. So that's a revised schedule. And then the last was just to provide a cost for, again, if we were to do the geotechnical analysis, that is provided here. This is a separate line item. This is not, this would have been in addition to the $82,550. So again, to go through with the design phase and do the geotechnical analysis, the estimate that Bob had provided was an additional $88,250. Again, we did not proceed with that. Simply, we are going to proceed with design, go through permitting, go through construction, and proceed that direction. We are here to answer any questions you might have. I want to thank the VIA representatives for being here and for your patience through this meeting. So we have representatives from the VIA here. We also, Henry's here to help me answer any questions that you might have. Again, the desire for today is to finalize the design or the concept for the fishing pier, whether we want to keep it in alignment with the bridge, if we want to move it slightly further out into the lake. So pick one of those two concepts, and then the second would be to go ahead and authorize us to proceed with executing the funding agreement for the donation.
So again, we have two questions in front of us. One is finalizing the design.
Yes.
And then the second is voting on accepting the funding agreement. Do you think it prudent that we just focus on one at a time, such as the design?
That'd be fine. I think we actually have the agenda worded that way as well. So the first topic could be, I think it was the design, and then the second would be the funding agreement.
So are there any questions?
Yeah, Mayor, if I could,
in terms of
please.
the design? Let me repeat that the correspondence we had received was April 6th from SOLA, which is superseded by correspondence from SOLA dated September 18th. And the September 18th, is anybody from SOLA here? Okay, you're here. So when we get to the public, we'll go to you. Rick, okay. Is there, Commissioner Thier, you wanted to go first?
Yeah, thank you. The geotechnical, just to confirm, Beacon Engineering was only recommending that if we relocated the pier or moved the pier, correct? They were comfortable that the geotechnical analysis that was done for the bridge in 2007 was sufficient for this
Correct.
project, correct?
Henry can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he recommended doing it at all, whether it stayed in the existing location or was moved.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And just to confirm on the budget, the 258, so this, again, this is from Beacon. They're saying, okay, we're going to build it. If we build it on time in 2026, we'll spend about $258,000 on this project.
Right. Yep.
Okay,
That's
great.
sort of his estimate at a not to exceed amount.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
That's all I had.
Commissioner Stewart?
I have a question or a couple. So are there material differences, risks, or benefits to the designs? I apologize. I'm new to this, but is it purely aesthetic, what you're telling us? Or, yeah,
In terms of the difference between the two concepts?
like structurally, is there a difference?
No.
There's
Again,
obviously not a cost difference.
right. The only thought really to position the pier further out into the lake was to provide more space for fishing. With the current location now, it's located really close to the bridge. So if you're fishing in that location, you're just dropping a line right in the water. You're not really casting.
Got it.
So the thought here was if we were able to position it a little bit further out, there's just more sort of surface area for people to be able to spread out and fish a little bit further.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? In terms of the design? We'll get to the public in a minute, but is there any questions on the
Mr. Mayor?
funding agreement?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
We didn't get a sense from the gentleman from Beacon Engineering if, like, he just basically said you could encounter problems. But in your mind, because I assume you've been, and you and Mr. Matlos have been over there, is there probably less risk of unexpected cost escalations if we just stick to the original location rather than pushing it out?
Yeah. And I think Bob did touch on that at the last meeting a little bit. I recall that his answer to, I think, a similar question was, we know that the pier's there now, and so he reasonably believes that obviously to replace in kind would be feasible to do so. If you go a little bit further out into the lake, there may be some unknowns.
Okay, well, when appropriate, Mr. Mayor, I would, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the design which replaces the pier in its extant current location I do expect there to be cost overruns, there always are, but at least to, reduce, mitigate the chances. Because of course, the city is going to be paying about $100,000. It's great that we have a donor for the major, for a lot of it, including for maintenance going forward. But, I think that would be prudent because there doesn't seem to be any particular benefit to having it pushed out. I mean, some people were saying you could fish on both sides, but it's never so crowded that we need more available space to fish that I've seen.
I want to go to the public before you make a motion.
Mr. Mayor, can I have a quick question, please?
Commissioner Galante?
Yes. Evan, could you have a breakout of, you've commingled design and permitting together. Do you have a breakout of those two individual costs?
I do not have that handy, no. I
Okay.
don't. Do you seem to recall? We do not at this time, no.
Okay. Can we get that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also a little confused by the expenditure of permitting. Like, why, this is a project for the public good. What is?
Permits.
What's, state permits.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
And probably Army Corps permits too. If they. Potentially Army Corps permits as well.
Okay,
But
thank
state
you.
permits is, yeah.
Is there any member of the public that would like to speak? Carolyn and then Rick? Now, you could mention the funding agreement, but we haven't
I'm not-
talked about
yeah.
it yet. But
Carolyn
if you go
Diefendorfer-
about
yep.
the design.
Carolyn Diefendorfer, city resident. I think, though, at the last meeting, one of the things that Bob said was that by moving it out, there was less place for floating trash or whatever to build up, that when it's pushed up against, the stuff gets, trapped. So that was one thing that he did say last time. I'm interested to see what SOLA thinks about changing the positioning, because I think it'll look much better pulled out. You'll be able to see wildlife going under the bridge. Right now, you cannot see that opening at all, and you don't get that visual impact of seeing the geese and the ducks and whatever else going under the bridge. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Rick? Introduce yourself if you would.
So Rick Hardy, I'm the president of Save Our Lakes Alliance 3, and welcome to our new commissioners, and thank you for having us, Mayor and commissioners. As many of you, or some of you may not know, SOLA has been working with the city for over 20 years to preserve and protect and enhance our 3 lakes, both Lake Girard, Lake Comegys, and our biggest lake, Silver Lake. So we have been through the seasons of fish kills and oil spills and things like that with the city. We are very excited about the Duvia pier, fishing pier. We also do water quality testing of that lake every week, and Craig helps us out actually as a volunteer. We do see more and more people using it this summer, and when you see the kids out there and their excitement about fishing and just really getting into it and knowing their baits and things like that, it's really, you reflect and go, this is why it's a great thing, right? You have families out there, you have a lot of kids. SOLA's real position is really to make sure that we have this done in an environmentally safe way to make sure we're protecting the lake, and that it's there, the structure is safe and enjoyable for everyone. So we're fully supporting that. Our views on the concept, while we prefer replacing the existing in place, we do understand that the bridge was expanded and has shortened the distance between the current pier and the bridge. And actually, most people tell us fishing next to the bridge is actually the best spot. They catch the biggest fish there. But we also understand the possibility of angling it. One of the things I would just make a point of when we look at this angled, that will actually sit out away from the bridge. The farthest corner will sit pretty much in the middle of that section of Lake Girard. It's 70 feet from the bridge itself, so it sits out 70 feet, which is roughly, is further than the frontage for a standard lot size. So just wanted to make that point, but we are very excited to have it. I think it's going to be a great new amenity for the city and the kids. So, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Anybody else? John?
John Gallagher, 304 Laurel. There's 2 different designs here. I'm wondering if there's a difference. We're talking about children. Is there a difference in safety for the children between the 2?
Evan?
Not that I can think of, not any difference, no.
When you get them out in the water, how do you protect them?
Yeah, I think if that, 2 comments, I guess I'd offer on that. I've been told that Lake Girard is really not that deep. Maybe Rick knows. I've been told I think it's only a few feet. But regardless, I think what we could easily do and include as a component of this project is what we did down at the Lewis Rehoboth Canal Dock, and that is we added a personal flotation or a safety flotation device. I think that could be something that we add if that's a concern. Obviously, as the chief may know, there's challenges with that because if it's not locked up, people like to take them and throw them or keep them. So that may be an option that we could include too.
What is the difference distance from the bridge to the first corner of the pier that's out in the center?
30 feet.
30 feet. Okay.
And the distance, yep. And the distance from the furthest portion of the pier, so I guess that's southeast, 55 feet.
Personally, I like the skewed one, and I would be willing to go with splitting the difference there. I just think it's a little more interesting than parallel to the thing. So I don't know if anybody
Mayor, if I could, please.
agrees with that. Commissioner Thayer?
I hear in different numbers here. So you would, Mr. Hardy, you had said 70 feet. Maybe you can bring that design back up and just point to the 70 feet you were referring to.
So I believe, and again, we don't have from Beacon the actual measurements, but I believe this is approximately 55 feet. And then the pier itself is 15 feet, so that's kind of how it's going.
That's correct, yep.
Okay. Thank you for that. In your correspondence with us, you indicated you think an environmental impact study is extremely important as we move forward. So maybe you could just tell us what you mean. I don't want to say tell us what you mean, but just describe what is involved.
Or an environmental impact study would help you understand what's going to happen when you put these pilings in the ground, what types of techniques we should be using. We're putting in piers in around some of the other lakes for personal use, so that is all going through DENREC and getting reviewed as well. But I just want to make sure it's a step we don't miss, and skip. So we really know what we're kind of getting into, the potential risks.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Wait a minute. Any
Is
more members of the
SOLA
public?
legislating
Any
for
more
us
members
an
of the
environmental
public?
study? I don't understand.
You don't have the floor.
Mayor?
Any more members of the public? Henry?
Mayor, I'd like to address what Mr. Hardy said. I've been in contact with Envirotech about environmental impact study, and it would cost $3,000 to $4,000 most likely.
Okay. Commissioner Good?
Well, I was just, since we're replacing an extant pier, I mean, maybe some people think we should push it out farther at that, 30-degree angle. But I think approving an environmental study for pylons that are basically probably, similar dimensions, if not identical dimensions of what's already there, I don't think that's money well spent by the city. You have other environmental problems. We have algae blooms and all sorts of stuff. There, we might want to invest some money, but I just don't, with all due respect to SOLA, I don't think SOLA's concerns about this particular section of the lake should drive spending in Rehoboth Beach. We have far more pressing environmental issues than a wooden structure which has been there, what we learned, I guess, since the 60s. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it has not apparently been, noxious toward children or wildlife, thank goodness. So, yeah, I hope, is anyone else concerned that, we're just being recommended to do something when I think environmental studies are a worthy endeavor. I know SOLA is very passionate about preserving the lake. Fine, but it's like we always think we have to. I think we need to make some decisions as to how important that is, given this is not a new project by any means.
Thank you, Suzanne. Susan Stewart?
I have two questions. I'm confused about the 30% overage. I understood that to be kind of a contingency.
Yeah.
But you answered Commissioner Thayer differently, I think. Am I wrong? Because you said the budget's 258, but it's not. It's 198 or whatever, and with a 30%, if things go wrong.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So at the previous meeting, we were asked, at least Commissioner Thayer, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when we put the project in the budget, what is a comfortable number to put in the budget?
Okay.
And that would be the 250.
Okay. My second question is, won't DENREC permitting won't it be inclusive of the impact on the environment? I mean, I don't know how you get through a DENREC permit, but presumably you have to have to talk about things that natural resources care about.
Right, right. And I'm sure that, at the time, they would review the project and obviously maybe have some input on it. But I want to jump back to Commissioner Galante's comment. I did pull up the estimate or the proposal from Beacon Engineering, and he was estimating roughly $5,700 in permitting fees at the high end. So that would leave design at about $38,000. But yes.
Any more comments from the commissioners? Commissioner Saunders?
I'm trying to share with my fellow commissioners and everyone else that actually I walked my dog down there and walked out onto the bridge. Please, when we're making a decision between the two, I just want to point out it's noisy as it where it currently is, because every car goes by, you hear it, to the point that my dog would like shake, I mean, it's noisy when the cars go by. So I'm all for pushing it out a couple of feet to save noise, if nothing else.
Well, again, I'm interested in skewing it half the distance, but anyhow, I would, Commissioner Gossett?
Yeah, we have two options before us. I don't think we need to go into a third option, to be honest with you. We've had this before us, in front of us for quite some time. I think moving it out to the skewed position, if you will prevent trash collection up against the bridge. Now the noise option that we have heard of comment there. If you're fishing, you want a little more space around you in that regards. I also, with regards to the environmental study, I think DENREC would certainly address those issues if we had. Currently, there is no, if you will, public bathing or swimming or kayaking or anything allowed in Lake Girard. And also, if people have been fishing there for 60 years, I haven't heard anybody getting sick from the fish. So maybe that's an indication that it's a healthy lake, or as healthy as we can expect it. I don't know if they're eating those fish or not, but I just think that all things considered, and the patience that the VIA and the anonymous donor have had for the past, seems like decade, we've been talking about this. I think I don't want to use this. I was going to say fish or cut bait, but make it, sorry, it just came to my mind, but to make a decision. So I would like to make a motion. Do we have a motion on the floor?
No, go ahead.
If I would like to make a motion to proceed with design and construction of the children's fishing pier in the new location as presented by city staff.
I second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Patrick Gossett and a second by Commissioner Susan Stewart to approve the concept plan number 7 with the skewed fishing pier.
Mayor, if I could, please? One last comment.
Discussion?
Yeah,
Commissioner
so,
Thier?
yeah, I'm looking at my notes from the last meeting, and I'm just going back to this geotechnical analysis, and I'd written this down from what Beacon Engineering said, which was that there's less risk using the current location because of the geotechnical analysis they have from 2007. The reason why we asked for the quote on geotechnical analysis was if we were going to move it, what would it cost to do a geotechnical analysis? He went on to say that and again, just kind of be clear, the geotechnical analysis, which was from around 2007 when they rebuilt the bridge, he's comfortable that that can be used for the pier in the current location. But if it has to be moved, that geotechnical analysis can't be relied upon for the new location, which is why we have this geotechnical analysis quote. So as much as I'd like to see it move, I won't vote to move it because of the risk. I would vote to keep it in the same location. So that was my comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I jump in?
Commissioner Galani?
So in looking at the schematic here, it shows that the pier is 96 feet from the shoreline. The wide portion of the pier is 50, and then there's an additional 46. I think the visual impact to Lake Girard is going to be negatively impacted from the pier being pushed out. I think for the reason that Commissioner Thier stated in terms of additional testing, I think it makes sense to keep the pier where it is. I've been there, I've been out on it. I think it's a lovely asset. I'm really excited about this gift, and I think we should capitalize on it, but I think we should keep it where it is. I think there's less problems in the long run from not changing the location.
Mr. Mayor?
We have a vote,
Mayor, if I,
we have a motion on the table.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to put a different motion in response.
Well, no, we have a motion we
Okay, we
have
could
to,
vote on
we
that one
have to
first,
act
fine.
on
I don't think
first.
it's, okay.
Thing.
Mayor, if I may,
Yeah.
may I amend my motion to go back to the existing position? So the motion would be, I move to, I make a motion to proceed with design and construction of the children's fishing pier in the existing location as presented by city staff.
Second.
Well, we had a, Susan Stewart seconded the last one. Do we need to undo that? We have a motion by Commissioner Patrick Gossett and a second by Commissioner
Second.
Galandi to approve the rebuild of the children's fishing pier in the existing footprint, right? Commissioner Gossett,
Aye.
Commissioner Thayer,
Aye.
Commissioner Stewart,
Aye.
Commissioner Galani,
Aye.
Commissioner Good,
I, with strong advocacy against an environmental study, especially
that's not-
as we've
that's
now
not in the
chosen the
motion.
existing
That-
footprint.
Suzanne, that's not in the motion. Commissioner Saunders,
Nay.
and the chair votes. Well, I'll vote yes, because it's going to be yes regardless, but I'd like it skewed. So anyhow, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 yes, 1 no. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the funding agreement.
Everybody voted yes, didn't they? Except Mark.
Mark voted no.
Oh, you voted no? Okay. Mr. Mayor, may I clarify? We've approved the existing footprint.
Do we need clarification?
And would you clarify how we're going, like, I don't think SOLA should be legislating, environmental studies
No,
for this
no.
city. So would you clarify how we're going to get, who's going to decide whether an environmental study is warranted? I think an environmental study, is obviated because you're just in the same spot on the lake, which has, thrived for some years. But, we're approving things, already the city's cost is almost $100,000. And we're talking about cost overruns as much as 30% on the $198,000, depending on, so I think it's good for the public and for me to understand, once we approve something, why there are all these add-ons that just the powers that be inside City Hall make a decision without any input from the board or from the public.
All right.
Mayor, if I could,
Thank
please,
you.
I just want to respond to that if I could, please.
Okay.
We talk a lot about getting grants, right? Getting other sources of funding. And that's the way I look at this, right? Some of your grants are just going to be flat out grants that are going to pay for everything, and some are going to be some type of matching grant. And that's the way I look at this, right? We have someone that's going to give us $250,000 to replace a pier, but oh, by the way, you're going to have to spend $125,000 or $135,000. So that's the way I have to look at this, right? I don't feel like we can direct you to go find grants and other sources of funding, and then when you bring it to us, say, oh, by the way, we don't want to use that. So I'm looking at that from this perspective. I think this is a great opportunity for the city to replace a pier that needs to be replaced. Yep. And by the way, somebody's going to give us $250,000 to help replace it.
Yep. Yeah, there is I'll just mention on the topic of grants too, there's the Division of Parks and Recreation offers an outdoor parks and recreation trails grant program, which is, I think they'd look pretty favorably on a project like this that we could consider as well, just to help offset some of the city's costs.
Thank you. Can we move on to the funding agreement?
Sure. So the funding agreement, again, really just outlines the funding arrangement between the anonymous donor, the Village Improvement Association, and the City of Rehoboth Beach. So I'll boil it down. Essentially, the anonymous donor is going to give the $250,000 to the VIA. Upon execution of this agreement, then we will, you'll see it right here, first paragraph, within 30 days of the effective date, the association will then provide the city the $200,000. We'll proceed with construction, and then that $50,000 will be put in that interest-bearing escrow account to be used for future maintenance. We did talk at the last meeting about the anonymous donor has requested a plaque. The language that would be put on the plaque was read at the last meeting. There wasn't any strenuous objection to that language. And again, the VIA has addressed the language specifically with the donor in a separate agreement. So we just simply say that, the city would like to just have a say, not so much a say, but just be aware of the size, shape, and overall design of the plaque. And that's essentially, in essence, the entire funding agreement. That's before you all, so.
Question for you, Evan, if I may. This agreement that's in front of us, has there been any changes from this agreement that was presented to us at the workshop?
No, Commissioner.
So it's the exact same agreement?
Correct.
All right. Any discussion among the commissioners? Any discussion from the public, if I may? Comments? Thank you. May I then call for a motion?
Make a motion that we
Certainly.
accept the funding agreement as presented.
Could I hear have a motion on the floor, a second by Commissioner Galante? May I call for a vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a peer. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I did, but I thought she wanted to be here today.
Right.
Quick, keep going. Keep going.
Everyone. All righty, everyone, thank you very much. One down, several to go here. The next thing up on our agenda are the community partner grant recipient reports, as this is reflective of the grants that the city makes annually, and in the aspect of wanting to know where our money is spent and being fiducially responsible to our taxpayers. We ask them to come back once a year to report how that money is being utilized and what we want to do. So,
Just before we get to that, Commissioner, I think the VIA just wants to say a couple words.
Oh,
if
certainly.
That's okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, it's been a hell of a long time. And the new commissioners, you have no idea how many times we've talked about this. But thank you, thank you, thank you from the VIA and from the donor. And the donor's wife was here, but it was such a long meeting that she had to leave. But this has been a wonderful, it's going to be great. The kids are going to enjoy it, and please take your chances and go down there, and when there's somebody there, stop and talk to them, and how wonderful it is for the kids and for the parents to do this. You are going to find that where you're going to re-put it at the same place, that it's going to be very warm, and it's going to be trash. So maybe we're going to have to figure out how to get the trash away from that little area. And also, the second thing is it's going to be warm. But there was a question that people had about the safety. And there are boards, there's going to be a whole selection of area that it's going to be safety barriers, and also there should be an area for someone who is handicapped with a wheelchair that they can fish from a lower area. So anyway, I just want to thank you again. Rosemary, Marty's the new president. We thank you so much for all of these years.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
As I mentioned, we're going to do things a little out of order. Next is the community partner grant recipient reports. I had actually, the fire department asked if they could go first. I'd like them to go so that they can go back to work. And then after that, we'll do Historical Society, Main Street, and the Public Library. Evan, you gave each a 10-minute time limit or so, or?
5 minutes.
Yeah, if we could keep the presentations to 10 minutes, that would be great.
Or shorter.
For sure, yeah.
Come ahead. Warren, introduce.
It's almost 5 o'clock already, Mr. Mayor.
Warren, introduce yourself.
My name is Warren Jones. I'm the Vice President of the Rehoboth Beach Volunteer Fire Company. I would like to add a little little start. We as volunteers, we all work. I now work at the Rehoboth Beach Rehoboth Hardware Store, and it's difficult to spend. Matter of fact, 18 minutes ago, I should have been closing the store. So if you could, next year on the annual report, if you could figure a way to do an agenda that isn't so dense as this one, it would be great.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I'd like to talk about our call volume and how it's been affected this year and how it's grown this year. And President Simper is going to follow me up and talk about finances and the different things we've been doing. In 2025, so far this year, we responded to 622 fire calls and 3,381 EMS calls. For a total of 4,003 calls for 2025. In June, our fire calls were 106, July 115, and August 126. I've been a fire recorder for 15 years, and I've never been that high. We've never had that many calls. Now, this is not on the city of Rehoboth, but to just give you an idea as far as the city of Rehoboth is concerned, in 2024, we responded to a total of 5,663 calls. In the city, we responded to 142 calls for fire calls and 568 EMS calls. So 12% of our call volume is right here in the city. To give you an example, the last 2 days, we've had 8 calls in the city. We started out at, 6:50 this morning, we were going to 115 South Boardwalk for a gas leak. Then we went to 501 North Boardwalk for we call them AFAs, automatic fire alarms. And then we went to 23 6th Street for another AFA. Yesterday, we had a motor vehicle collision on 2nd Street. We had a person who fell on Philadelphia Street. We had a person who fell out here in the convention center parking lot. Also, yesterday, we had another call at 129 Rehoboth Avenue, and then just a short while ago, we were on Maryland Avenue for another EMS call. This year, we decided to put on a third ambulance. We've been running 2 ambulances 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for a long time. This year, our call volume grew so much that we put a third ambulance on. Now, our original thoughts were to run it from May to September, which we have been doing. But as our call volume grows, we may have to increase and consider extending that time because our call volume has gone through the roof. For the new commissioners who don't know what else we do, on the 4th of July and on Sea-Witch, we have 5 ambulances. We staff all 5 on those 2 events because the city's closed down. In addition to the 5 ambulances, and we're paying for the career staff for those 5 ambulances. And in addition to those 5 ambulances, we bring our fire apparatus and our people in from Station 3 out in Angola into the city to be able to cover the city, so we cover both sides of the city because Rehoboth Avenue shut down. So that's what we do. And in addition, we also sponsor the Christmas parade, which takes a lot of our people to do that. The most critical problem we have is staffing our fire apparatus. We have only 2 people who live in the city of Rehoboth Beach, and one of them's a fire police who doesn't ride a fire truck. So we're very limited to what happens here in the city. We have people who come into the city when we have a fire call to staff the fire apparatus, but we do not have enough in here. We're getting to the point where we've been fairly successful at recruiting new people, but not in this location. Our station in Angola is the best staff station because we have more people. We take anybody from 15 years old to 60 years old. I'm serious about that 60 years old because I'm past that time frame. So we're willing to work and train them and have them help us out. There may come a day where we're going to have to pay people. If we do have to pay somebody to staff fire apparatus next door here, it may come that day. If it does, then we're going to have to come back and chat with you about that. Presently, if no one has any questions for me as far as car volume is concerned, or our calls, or how we handle them, or so on, then
Warren, I understand from Chuck Snyder, your commander truck, or the truck that he drives, has come in, is just waiting to be signage put on it.
Mike's going to cover that in his report.
Okay, very good.
No questions. I'll let President Simpler come up.
Thank you. Mike, introduce yourself.
Co-owner of the Rehoboth Hardware Store.
Mike Simpler, President, Rehoboth Fire Company. Commissioners, new commissioners, welcome to the ball game. That's all I got to say. It's going to be fun. Last year, we approached you folks for $200,000. You were gracious enough to give us an extra $50,000 to go towards our new command vehicle. The new command vehicle is in. It's getting the equipment put on it. It is currently in Marydale, getting equipment put in it, lights, radios. Also, the labeling's going on it, and the city decal saying donated by the citizens of Rehoboth Beach will be placed on the vehicle, as is on one of the Gators, but it'll be to size to fit the truck so people see it. Again, we were asked to come up with some stuff. A lot of our discussion, I believe, to refresh the commissioners, was going to be based on the facet report. The facet report did come out. I'm proud to say that we are one of the top fire companies in the state as far as our numbers. That's financial, staffing, equipment, and everything else. We came in just below being sufficient forever. We were just 2.5 points below the green mark. So, and that was based on which in my opinion, it's a little skewed because they did the survey from the records during the COVID time. So it was from 2019 to 23, correct, Warren, 23? Yes. So it was during the COVID time. They did a lot of their surveying of our things. And if you go in and look at the survey, which I will give to Evan has asked for a copy of it. It's 540 some pages is the whole thing for everybody in the county. You will see where they say the age of our apparatus, when our replacement should be, what the average cost of our apparatus is, and those type items. Some of the, just to give you a few headlines, no sense in trying to hide anything. We have approximately $7 million sitting in the bank right now. In about a month and a half, $500,000 will be going out for a new ambulance. In January or February, close to another $3.5 to $4 million will be going out for the new ladder to replace the 86 ladder and one of the older engines, which if you look at the report, we're right on our timelines. We're putting it. We're taking the money, what we collect, we're investing it, we're putting it in so that we are in line with what they recommend. That's why we got such a high marking on what we do. One of our big hits was the number of volunteers that respond to Station 1. I'm one that gets to respond to Station 1 along with my kids, so I'm blessed with that side, where the other stations, like Warren said, Station 3 backs us up a lot of times. So when you see the Quint come in or one of those trucks, that's coming from out of town, not so much out of Station 2. We do not leave town a lot. I'm sure you guys have seen us come flying in town. Doors will go up and you'll see us all standing out front like, damn, we can't go, because it's out that way. And we know that our responsibility is the city of Rehoboth, Dewey Beach, and South. So we know that that's what we have to do. As far as the ambulance, like Warren said, we did have 3 ambulances in service this summer. We were over our budget right now, with still a quarter left to go. We're at $1.7 million in salaries and benefits, with still a quarter to go. Unfortunately, our fund drive is down 38% from our original fund drive letter that we normally do. We don't know if it's because of the tax increase that everybody got or if it's the economy. So that's something we are working on. And with that in mind, we've always had a policy of how we invest our money, and how we keep it. We've also come up with another additional policy to it, which is our excess cash management policy. It's Rehoboth Beach Volunteer Fire Company, reviews quarterly the amount of excess cash generated. The goal is to ensure that the extra cash is put to work efficiently. Exceeding cash is defined as total cash on hand, less expenditures operating cash needed. RBVFC will maintain operating cash in the balance to 30 days of projected operating expenses. Operating cash used are biweekly payroll, suppliers, payments, and emergency liquidities. Excess cash will be applied to the following in this order and may be moved as deemed by executive committee. Funding for appropriate capital projects, short-term investment, excess cash is invested in strategic investments per the RBVFC investment policy. The treasurer and the assistant treasurer will consult and advise the finance committee on the recommendation on proposed investments. The RBVFC executive team approves all proposed investments. The investments are required monthly by the finance management team, and the investments are reviewed by the RBVFC executive team on a quarterly basis. Excess cash management policy will be incorporated into the RBVFC financial procedures and policies. So we've added another wing to be good stewards of our money that we receive from the public. So that now gives us 3 levels that we have to follow and be compliant. We're not compliant to the State Fire Commission. They don't think any fire company should have that much money. But when you just had to order another replacement truck that's coming in at $1.6 million to replace a 22-year-old fire truck, you just can't go out and get that nowadays. You have to work, save, and it's just one of the things we do in Rehoboth. We work, the public really supports us. You guys support us quite a bit too. The other thing, you guys probably don't want to hear this after the bridge thing now, and the fishing dock, osprey nest. A lot of complaints this summer from people. Even visitors came up to the front of the firehouse and wanted to know why we weren't doing anything, because they were having bird droppings all over their cars, fish again, laying there. I think we need to really step up and look at that, Mayor. But I know I've talked to Taylor on a couple different occasions, and we've waited till the osprey are gone. The osprey are gone. So I think that's one of the next things we need to do. So
Thank you, Mike.
and new commissioners, if anytime you want to come visit the firehouse, call Warren. No, I'll be glad to take you around. Any of you, if you want to come up and look around, we'll be more than glad to show you around the firehouse. Our books are always open for you to review at any time too. So.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions? Commissioner Saunders?
Just a quick comment. Sometimes we don't acknowledge this, but one of the biggest assets of our fire department, I think, is the building itself. I know you guys have been tremendously generous. This summer we had an election, and if it wasn't for the fire hall, we would have no place to go. RBHA would have no place to go because the convention center was being used, and we don't have a facility that large anywhere else. So I just want to say thank you very much for the use of the facility itself, and it's an asset to the entire city of Rehoboth Beach.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I had that in notes, but I was looking at time. But since you brought that up, we are still working as Taylor and Commissioner Thayer came over, and they actually looked at our ADA capabilities to our bathroom downstairs. It's going to cost a lot of money to do it. We're working on stuff, but we ran into another problem we found asbestos in 2 of the rooms. So we're going to start working here soon to do the asbestos removal for those areas. We've had somebody come in, test it, and we've been up with someone who's professionally allowed to remove it. So that's going to be one of the things we're going to have to be working on soon too. So, but again, for the city, you do a lot for us as well, as far as allowing us to have our Sportsman's Bash in Convention Hall, and that generates about $80,000 for us that we share with Ducks Unlimited. So they get $80,000, we get $80,000 after the profit, and that goes a long way. Perfect example, last month we voted to buy 10 sets of fire gear, $120,000 for just 10 sets of fire gear. So I mean, it's not a cheap business like it used to be when I got in 40 plus years ago. I mean, it's a lot different now, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll bring up the Rehoboth Beach Historical Society.
It's there. It's coming.
PowerPoint? Yeah, which, I have your thumb drive here, which, 458. This one looks like it's dated today. Do you want the PDF or the PowerPoint?
PowerPoint. So we can, and how do I push through? How do I move to the
Yep,
next one?
I'll show you.
training session here. We'll be with you. Sorry. Yeah.
So then you'll just hit this arrow.
Okay.
Right here to go to the next.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, almost evening, Mayor Mills and Commissioners. I'm Roger Truitt. I'm the president of the Rehoboth Beach Historical Society Board. Been in that position since January of this year. I thank you for the opportunity to appear before you this afternoon and report on how our nonprofit is doing and what we are doing with the very generous grant that the city afforded us in 2025. It's providing important funding for ongoing operations, as well as a number of exciting new growth initiatives that I'll cover very briefly. Our executive director, who's been before you many times now, Dr. Heidi Nostrom Evans, sends her regrets. She had a longstanding personal commitment for this afternoon. So I will do my best to fill in for her, because she knows all the details that I'll learn probably Monday night at our board meeting. First, I'd like to acknowledge one of our board members is present with me, Carl Pierce in the back there. And you also probably recognize next to him our premier volunteer, Paul Lovett, whose amazing 1910 Golden Age of Rehoboth diorama is now a permanent exhibit at the museum. And if you haven't been in to see it lately, it's even bigger than it was when it was here at City Hall. As some of you may know, I grew up in this beautiful town many decades ago, as it turns out. And there actually have been Truitts here since its founding. And I know that because this amazing newspaper, which our museum has been able to preserve, has a list in here of all of the original property owners. And you may have some relatives on there as well, just like I do. So it's pretty neat what we've been able to do and learn about our history. For the past 11 years, some of you may also have seen me out in costume portraying Reverend Todd, who founded this beautiful town 150 years ago. And I will also put in a plug for a book that I published 2 years ago about the founding of Rehoboth by Reverend Todd and the Rehoboth Beach Camp Meeting Association, and the 10 years that happened after that, when some would say the sinners won out over the saints. But that's another whole story. In any event, that's why I and the other members of our board, our staff, our more than 800 members and volunteers have such a passion for the history of this town. And it's wonderful that we have a facility that's owned by the city right at the canal bridge when you come into town. So I'll try to move through this quickly. You see there, we have just this year published a strategic plan that the city had asked for. I think we sent that to the city in March. And that plan has a number of initiatives in it, but we also developed what we call our revised mission and vision. You see them up on the screen there. Our mission is to preserve and celebrate the history of our diverse community, and our vision for doing that is to have a dynamic museum experience where history is meaningful and engaging for all. And I think you'll see we're on the road to that. Let's go to the next one. Again, why are we relevant and important to the city? I think first you have to look at, we are one of the primary cultural institutions in the city, have been now for almost 50 years. Our concept is that we preserve and celebrate the city's heritage. There are thousands of artifacts that we have in our possession. We're getting more all the time. And we have dozens of annual events that help people understand about our history. We celebrate our history. So we're a cultural landmark. and economic catalyst located, as I said, just when you come over the canal. First thing you see when you enter the city. So in March, we reported to the city what we were going to use grant funds for that were then awarded. And these are some of the purposes that we had at that time. We wanted to foster our growth initiatives. We wanted to fund the ongoing operations, offset increased staffing costs, hire a fundraising consultant to help us develop long-term funding plan and sustainability, increase our information technology, and we hired a consultant to help with that. And we've done a website upgrade and increased our social media presence. That's what we said we were going to do, and I'm pleased to report that all of those things are underway. Some have been accomplished. The two most tangible items on that list is that we have retained a fundraising consultant, Horizon, and they're hard at work now with us and the board to develop initiatives in our fundraising programs. And also, we have upgraded our information on technology by hiring a consultant. And we actually had to change over our desktops, our printers. Everything was getting very aged. And we're in much better shape now to move forward with the new equipment. So some of our fundraising goals, what we've been pursuing and actually achieving. We've been awarded a Delaware 250 grant to fund our Summer 25 exhibit, which was celebrating African American in Rehoboth. And if you haven't seen that, it's still up, I believe, or has been up until very recently. And the thing that's really interesting about that is African Americans were here a long time before Reverend Todd got here. And we have attempted to bring that information to the public in our summer exhibit. We've been seeking donations from individuals and businesses, which is especially critical now because of federal funding cuts. We have developed a policy of having winter and summer appeals where we send out requests to our members and to businesses. We've been having fundraisers. We had one last night at the Sirocco restaurant that was very successful. Our upcoming beach ball is going to be on October 11 at the Cambria Hotel. There are actually two other events the nights prior to that. A 5-course wine dinner at the Pines, and then another wine-type event on Friday night. Programming revenue is up because we have more programs, we have more activities, we have more people coming into the museum. So those are all good things. By the way, if you want to know about getting a ticket to the beach ball, I've got a brochure here for anybody that wants it. Leave it up here. We're also having the Funsters. We know how popular they are for the 4th of July when you have them, so they're going to be our musical entertainment. Okay. Let's move along here.
What gives? I mean,
Okay. So here we talk about, we hired our fundraising consultant, and what they are helping us with is coming up with long-term fundraising initiatives that will keep us sustainable. We're developing things like something called a Century Club, where we'll invite some of our better donors to participate in a fairly major way. And we can use some of this money as more or less an endowment to keep us moving forward. We also are going to develop, let's see, our staffing. Our goal with staffing is to actually, by 2027, to hire a full-time development person. And by doing all these things, we hope our need for government funding won't increase in any kind of significant way, that we'll be more self-sufficient. So that's where we want to go. Let me move through this because I know we have others waiting. These are some of the things that we have accomplished this year in terms of exhibits and presentations. And I'm actually going to leave with you our mid-year report that is hot off the press. The ink is barely dry. It just came out yesterday, but a lot of what's on this slide is covered here. And so at your convenience, you can take a look at it and see the kinds of things that we are doing. These are some of the offerings in '25 that have been made to the public as a result of the city funding. Again, I could go on. There's a lot of items on this list. Heidi and her staff have done an amazing job of bringing people into the museum for a diverse set of exhibits and activities. So these are some of the things that the city funding has allowed us to do. And that, I'll finish there because I know we got people coming behind me, but I appreciate your time. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Truitt? Thank you.
Could I leave these? Pass them down. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Truitt.
Thank you for the presentation.
Next up is Rehoboth Beach Main Street.
Is this a semi-annual presentation, March and September? Is it good? No one ever introduced this as, like, how it works with our calendar. It's a lot of the same information we got in March.
That one?
No, that one.
There you go.
There it is, that's it.
Oh.
Thank you. Get my glasses on.
Well, good afternoon. Commissioners and Mayor, I would like to introduce, I'm Executive Director Dan Slagle from Rehoboth Beach Main Street, and this is Cindy Lovett in charge of Rehoboth and Bloom. So I'm hand ready.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm going to be very quick. I just wanted, one thing on Rehoboth and Bloom, I wanted to let you know that on the 27th and 28th of October, we will be pulling out the annual flowers that are in the planters now, and the following week, we will be planting pansies for the winter, so just FYI. The other thing I want to tell you, and this is exciting. If you may remember, probably 9 months, close to a year ago, we said that we were going to try and get our post office on the National Register of Historic Places. We have completed the draft. We are so excited about this. Now, notice I said draft because this now goes to Emily Whaley of the National Register Coordinator, and she will work her magic. And once she's done, then it goes to the National Park Service. This, by the way, does not include any repairs to the building. This is simply to get our wonderful sign that gives our post office that designation. Dion, the postmaster, wants to have a party once we get that sign next door, and she wants to put up a tent and have food and bring the elementary school kids in and really celebrate our post office. We're not positive that it's going to stay a post office. As of now, the money is still there in the pot to do the repairs, but it's something you don't know. You never know what's going to happen. So I have here 3 copies of the document itself that we're sending in of the draft. I would like to give one to Patrick, our liaison for this project, and one for the mayor, and one for Mr. Tedder, and then I can send in the electronic PDF copy to Ann if we would like to do that. So if that would be okay, we are, by the way, I have to say the names. Catherine Purge and Mary Jane Dietz came in and rescued Susie Martin and I because it turned out we had no idea what we were doing, absolutely none. Those 2 women, along with Paula Evans, who was just fantastic, and Robert Thompson, those 4 really did the meat of the work, and this never would have happened without them. Fortunately, both Catherine and Mary Jane had past experience in doing something similar to this. So I'm just going to pass these out and turn it over to Dan. Patrick, thank you. That's great. For being our liaisons. Mayor?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You'll be impressed. It's really awesome.
And I want to personally thank Cindy for all the work, with Rehoboth Bloom and on this project for the post office. It was amazing. Do you want to say anything else?
Nope,
No?
I'm good.
Okay. So I just wanted to take a minute. I have a little bit of time. I am going to go through this pretty quick. But I want to thank the mayor and Craig Tier for speaking at the Delaware on Main meeting. You were talking about the different things you do as mayor, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate you speaking. And what Delaware Main is, it's all the main streets in the whole state of Delaware coming together, and we hosted the event. And thank you to the city for allowing us to use the training room on the 3rd floor. They just couldn't say enough. We had the Delaware State Treasurer speaking. We had Senator Hustable speaking, the mayor. It was just extraordinary. We had over 40 people show up. So thank you. And the AI presentation, thank you very much. We were very proud, and Above the Dunes presented a nice buffet, and Sunny Bay provided breakfast. It was just a huge success. So I want to say that. Congratulations to our new commissioners. I look forward to meeting with you at our office, and I look forward to that. The Tater Talks, thank you. I get it out. Thank you for inviting me to speak. I think it came out today. I've heard about it shortly. I do want to take the opportunity to thank the city, and I'm not going to cry, I promise. Thank the city, the residents, and the business owners, Main Street, Cindy, everyone, for the support of my husband passing away 2 months ago. So thank you for all the love and support. It has been overwhelming, the wonderful support. So I just wanted to take a second and thank everyone for that, especially Main Street. They've been there for me. So I'm going to get started, okay? I want to read this because this is our mission. And one thing too, to Chief Banks, you have a busy weekend ahead. There's about 5 to 6 events going on this weekend. So anything you need from Main Street, let us know. I know we have an event too going on. So Rehoboth Main Street is a nonprofit, volunteer-driven organization. When I meet with businesses and I go to meetings and I meet with everybody across the state and I go to conferences, this mission is what I am proud of. It took a lot of work and time. Our mission is to foster and promote a vibrant, year-round, in-town experience for businesses, residents, and visitors alike. And that means a lot for this town. So one of our strategic goals was to draw people in to enjoy the beauty and experience of downtown Rehoboth Beach, make downtown Rehoboth Beach an accessible place to work, obtain resources to fuel our mission. I'm not going to go through everything, but you can take a look at this. What we're most proud is over 120 volunteers for Main Street provide 6,000 hours supporting downtown initiatives. So it tells you a lot that our town and a lot of the volunteers value what we do. And Sydney, I'm going to let you, the dance party. Okay. The Bloomin' Dance Party exceeded all goals and brought the community together. Attendance increased 76%, and the revenue increased by 95%. Shows you how important Rehoboth and Bloom and all the flowers and plants that are taken care of by Bloom. We delivered a successful gumbo crawl, margarita crawl. We feel these events help bring business downtown for off-season. Also, we installed and maintained floral displays. They continue to, how you say the garden?
Oh, Verrazano.
Verrazano Garden, you got it. We have awarded 3 signing and awning grants and also 54 new banners. I hope everyone has seen the new banners going up and down in Rehoboth. So you're seeing some of the funds that you're giving us being used towards these programs and projects. So I think this is very important to show.
And not one banner fell down yet.
Which is very important. I often host greet and meets and a mix and mingle. It was at Khan's Bakery to invite the community and business owners to see exactly what we do and what we provide. So I think it's important for me to continue the greet and meets across the city. We're very excited that we partnered up with the museum to do the Winter tour. It was sold out, so it was wonderful. We're also partnering up with the museum to go to Longwood Gardens in December, and we'll be selling 58 tickets for that. We're partnering again to get a bus. So we provided monthly, promotions of partner and membership sponsors and town events, member business, vendor markets, and of course, some of the money goes towards our social media, our Facebook, Instagram, Google ads, our newsletter. So these are just some of the things the funds are being used for. Key accomplishments. I think this is very important. We worked with the Cape Henlopen School District to secure parking for downtown businesses, employees at the elementary school for the summer season. So I think that was a big a huge success for us. Serve a cleaner house to connect workers with housing opportunities. Work with the city to make use of new Placer AI. Thank you, Craig. It has been amazing. A lot of the main streets across the state would like to also get AI. I will let you know that's very important, and we're very honored that you're letting us participate in using it. So we're also opening new applications to accept online donations, complete midterm, the strategic plan. Right now, we're working on our work plans for 2026. Provide refresher training to ambassadors. We're also complete board of directors skills assessment. Also volunteers needed, and we're getting stuff put on our website, also our Facebook page for recruitment of volunteers. New revenue sources, you can see right here, we love our new Zephy app because now you can buy a ticket on the app without getting the fee. Yep. And also we have a dine and donate events coming up. And looking ahead, Delaware on Main at City Hall, which I just explained just happened. Our 2026 work plan reviews, Longwood Garden Bus Tour, our Community Unity, Rehoboth and Bloom. And there we go. Did I meet my time? Any questions at this time?
Any questions of Dan?
Sorry if I spoke really fast. I was trying to
And,
get through.
thank you for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're doing a good job. And last up, Rehoboth Beach Public Library. Lauren?
Here somewhere.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor Mills. Thank you, commissioners. Welcome, Commissioner Seward and Commissioner Galati. I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm going to breeze through this quick update on the library. So since the start of our fiscal year, we have welcomed approximately 17,000 visitors and have seen over 11,000 physical items circulate. So that's books, movies, periodicals, hotspots. We've had over 8,000 digital items circulated and registered 301 new library cards. And these are some of the programs we've been doing. We had a very successful summer reading program this year. I'd like to thank, once again, all the businesses that donated prizes for our summer reading raffles for kids and for adults. And we've got some exciting events coming up in the fall, like we're having a preschool art class that's going to meet the third Wednesday of every month, and our annual Cookies and Cocoa with Santa event. We're getting some programs ready for Sea Witch. And so as outlined in our grant application, we are using the $75,000 that the city has generously given to us towards personnel costs. I did send the budget as a separate attachment, but for the sake of the presentation, I just highlighted the section with personnel costs. So we've currently spent $53,112.47. This includes salaries, health insurance stipend, IRA match for full-time employees. And these costs will go up in the month of September. All of our employees are receiving a 3% pay raise to keep up with the rising costs. The total amount that we have budgeted is $386,940. And we were understaffed at the start of this summer because one of our part-time employees left, but we are back to a full staff now. We hired someone at the beginning of August, and so we're doing well there. As far as the future of the library, as you know, we are going to be going before the Planning Commission next week for renovations towards our downtown facility. The renovations will include much-needed additional meeting space. We had a lot of individuals and organizations reaching out to us this summer that wanted to use the study room or the upstairs meeting room, and we had to say no because someone else had already booked it. We even had to move some of our board meetings because there was another event going on. So we're going to be adding more rooms. And infrastructure repairs, like our HVAC system, desperately needs to be replaced. We did receive the full $3 million in ARPA grant funds towards construction, and we have launched our capital campaign. There is more information about that available on our website. And any questions?
Very good, Lauren. Any questions of Lauren?
Mayor?
Commissioner Saunders?
I just want to say I was lucky enough to be invited and attend the fundraiser that you folks had a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was wonderful. You did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the cocktail party run by our friends of the library. They're a wonderful organization. They raise money for the library, mostly for collections and programs. So anytime you go to an event at our library, that's funded by the friends. Any- yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, Lauren.
Thank you.
And that's it for the community partner grant reports. Now we're going to move backwards to old business 11B, consider approval of new advisory committee criteria for the Environmental Advisory Committee and the City Streets and Safety Advisory Committees. The commissioners have always voted to formalize the criteria for committees, and so that's what this process is today. Hopefully, we can vote on them. The agenda item report, Ann, can you put me back on the screen or? There's an agenda item report provided to us, and what I did is I created it with the help of the chairs, Mark Sonder and Chair Craig Thayer. And I tried to combine in one spot both their proposed criteria for the committee in terms of the official advisory committee name, the mission statement, their membership criteria, and the membership number. In addition, some other information was added by them. And I think what I'd like to do is, of course, the conclusion of this is to vote and formalize all that so that we can authorize Ann to update the website and change the application and start soliciting membership as of October 1st is the goal. But what I thought maybe we should start off here is the membership criteria. If you recall, back in November 2020, the board at that point changed the membership criteria by eliminating some of the outside of town people. And at that time, in November 2020, the minutes say the membership criteria included voting committee members shall be comprised of residents, property owners, and business owners of the city of Rehoboth Beach. It then went on further and say the committee may include non-voting members with specialized expertise who are not residents, property owners, or business owners of the city of Rehoboth Beach. And if you recall, at the last meeting, we had a constituent that was somewhat angry or wanted us to clear up, well, can people out of town be on the committee or not? And if you see that the RBHA sent a letter in with their opinion that no outsiders, if you will, should take up a seat. The seats should all be taken by in-town residents and property owners. So I wanted to try to clear that up first because I think we should probably have both committees in agreement with the membership criteria. So is there any input, Commissioner Thayer?
Yeah, I would propose we just strike that line out. The committee may include non-voting members. I always kind of interpret it as, they really weren't members, but I think a lot of people are interpreting it as they could be members and take up a seat on the committee. So I would suggest that we strike that sentence. The committee may include, it's line 39, the committee may include non-voting members with specialized expertise who are not residents, property owners, and business owners of the city of Rehoboth Beach. Just provides clarity. I think if a committee, I think this is something that you've suggested, Mayor, if a committee wants to invite someone to speak who's not in one of those categories, that's fine, that's great. But this will avoid any confusion that's out there.
Well,
Mark, I'm sorry.
I'm in agreement with that. And I think, so essentially by removing the second sentence, we're left with the first sentence only. And I will share with you that there has been a problem in the back because they've had members that are non-voting and they're the outsiders. The problem is the chairs, the tattletale, have not monitored that whatsoever, and everybody on there was able to vote. So I think this cleans it up. It's a lot better. It actually reacts very well to, reflects better, I think, what the conversation was from the members of our constituents back in November 2020, and that they were perturbed, not unlike the RBHA letter, they were perturbed back then with allowing non-residents, non-property owners come in and tell us what to do. And so I think that would be appropriate. Is there any other conversation with respect to that?
Mayor, question?
Yes.
Just, with regards to the document before us, there's specifically outlined, beginning on line 53, proposed criteria for the City Streets and Safety Advisory Committee, and then 69 saying those deletions should possibly be made there if that's what we're going to vote on.
Correct. Lines 61 to 64 and 77 to 80 would be amended.
Is it my understanding the membership criteria will state voting committee members shall be comprised of residents, property owners, and business owners of the city of Rehoboth Beach?
Period.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
So we're gonna
they were striking it, but I had a
wait, I'll give you, Commissioner Good?
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw the verbiage on this memorandum, and I had emailed the mayor and several others, and I feel as if, like, no one remembers back in 2020 that a lot of, it goes beyond the homeowners association letter we received as part of correspondence, the shock that we would be different from every other community, including in coastal Delaware. There's no way Lewis and Dewey and Bethany allow non-stakeholders to serve in any position. I mean, that's called a paid consultant, and that's like I understand, but I'm hoping we could not bring this back. It's come back like every second or third year, as though we're still considering it. And could we make a motion that non-stakeholders have a right, if they're very passionate about a topic, they can be in the gallery at every meeting and they can comment to their heart's delight. But I just don't understand why we keep bringing back things that are so inconsistent with what every other municipality in the entire country considers reasonable policy.
Suzanne, we don't need to do that because we invite any and everybody to our meetings. And in fact, we always are very liberal with allowing them to participate.
I've said
in the
nothing
meeting and
different. Of
everything,
course,
so.
we encourage people who
So-
have
well,
interest
so we don't
or
need to make
passion about a
motion.
topic to
Patrick,
attend
are
the
you-
meetings.
Patrick,
I'm
are you
saying
going to
we,
make a motion?
Certainly.
That would encompass agreement with this and the one change.
Correct.
Figure that out.
Should two separate motions for each committee?
Is there anybody in the public that wants to say anything? No, you're good. Well, and
I'd like to make a motion that the proposed criteria for the City Streets and Safety Advisory Committee, as outlined in a document from line 54 to line 66, with the exclusion of line 62, which states the committee may include non-voting members with specialized expertise who are not residents, property owners, and business owners of the city of Rehoboth Beach, be stricken from that.
So you're going to do one at a time?
Yes.
If I may, Commissioner, perhaps I can offer a friendly amendment that we
Sure.
simply remove that second sentence and that the motion simply be that membership criteria is that voting committee members shall be comprised of residents, property owners, and business owners of the city of Rehoboth. And this membership criteria is for both the City Streets and Safety Advisory Committee and the Environmental Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Now, does that include approval of their mission statement and mission number?
Yes.
Yes.
So
I
in-
second.
So so we have a motion by Commissioner Dr. Gossett and a second by Commissioner Stewart to approve the proposed criteria for the City Streets and Safety Advisory Committee and for the Environmental Advisory Committee with the one change in verbiage of the membership criteria. Not clean. With that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, and the motion's carried unanimously. Thank you. You've got work to do. We'll be in touch with you as soon as we can get that application form.
Question for you, Mr. Mayor.
yeah.
Question on this subject. How soon will the public be able to apply for membership on these committees?
I said earlier. This is where I learned who listens to me and who doesn't.
People are anxious. People are anxious.
We'll start soliciting October 1st. And then we can get the application done by then. Everything. With that, we'll move on to the next item of business, which is nominations. I get the privilege of doing all the nominations, I believe, here. What we want to do is consider appointment of Phil Tobey to fill the seat vacated by Susan Stewart for a term ending September 19th, 2028. It's easier just to do these, at least his one at a time. I distributed his unredacted application to you earlier. There is a language in the application that reads, "No person serving as a commission, board, or committee member may simultaneously serve as a city advisory board or elected official of any other government unless approved by the city commission." As you read Mr. Tobey's application, you see that he does have some outside boards that he's on. So I would I don't think that does any harm whatsoever, and so I would ask somebody to make a motion to appoint Mr. Tobey to the Planning Commission for the term ending September 19th, 2028, and including that we waive the prohibition on an individual simultaneously serving as a city board member or elected official or any other government.
I would make a motion to appoint Mr. Phil Tobey to fill the vacated seat of Planning Commission member Susan Stewart for a term ending September 19th, 2028. I, too, see no conflict of interest, having seen his other.
You're still making a motion. You
making a
can't
motion.
be
And
discussing.
consider
And
reappointments.
including that we waive the
Okay.
prohibition.
And consider waiving the well, that's what I was talking, and therefore waive the prohibition on simultaneously serving on other committees and commissions. And do you want me to include also in the motion the reappointments of Susan Gay and Earl?
No, just
we're not there yet.
let's do this one. Can I get a second? Second. I have a motion by Commissioner Suzanne Good and a second by Commissioner Mark Saunders to appoint Mr. Tobey to the Planning Commission for a term ending September 19th, 2028. And including that we waive the prohibition on an individual simultaneously serving as a city advisory board member or elected official of any other government. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and his appointment is confirmed. With that, we'll move on to the appointments of Susan Gay, or actually reappointments of Susan Gay and Earl Stockdale for the terms to the Planning Commission ending September 19th, 2028.
There are no alternates
We
to those
need-
two? You don't have any alternates?
No. I'm nominating them because I'm happy with their work. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Patrick Gossett and a second by Commissioner Mark Saunders to reappoint Susan Gay and Earl Stockdale for terms to the Planning Commission ending September 19th, 2028. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And we have one opposition, is Commissioner Suzanne Good says a no vote. And with that, they are reappointed. I want to skip for a minute. Consider appointment of Commissioner Patrick Gossett to Chair Personnel Committee for a one-year term. Can I get a motion?
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
Could there be some discussion first, please?
We've got a motion by Commissioner Mark Saunders and a second by Commissioner Craig Thier to appoint Commissioner Patrick Gossett to chair the Personnel Committee for a one-year term. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Good.
maybe Commissioner Gossett could confirm that he was the chairperson of the Personnel Committee in April 2024. Is that correct? Before I give my concerns about this appointment.
Commissioner, perhaps you could just give your concerns given the late hour.
Okay, I am operating on the assumption that Commissioner Patrick Gossett was chair of the Personnel Committee, including on April 8th, 2024. And I feel that anyone who was in charge of that committee when a fraught decision was made with a very unusual compensation package that was not presented to the public, that wasn't even available to those voting on it until the meeting was probably underway, should not be in charge of the Personnel Committee in Rehoboth Beach. That person has not shown the background, competence, and other qualities we would want in someone in charge of the Personnel Committee.
All right. So I'm going to call the question. We have in front of us a motion to appoint Commissioner Patrick Gossett to chair the Personnel Committee for a one-year term. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
We have one no vote by Commissioner Good and the rest of the vote, so that's a 6-1. And congratulations, Patrick.
Mayor, if I may.
You've got the majority of confidence in you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would just like to state, as I did last time, that to remind Commissioner Good that the decision to hire the city manager was a decision made by the entire commission. It was not a one vote. At the Personnel Committee, my responsibilities was as a liaison to the consultant to align appointments, to align distribution of materials, et cetera. And I'm really flattered that Commissioner Good thinks I'm so persuasive that I have the ability to influence all of the commissioners to make that decision. And as I said before, Commissioner Good, all of us are entitled to our own opinions, but not to our own facts. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
I
With
would
that,
take-
you don't have the
I
floor.
think the wrong assumption.
You do not
he has-
have the floor, Suzanne.
I
With
was
that,
asking
with that,
for
we're
you to
gonna.
grant me the floor.
I am
because
not granting you the floor. We are moving forward. We have a slate here. I'd like to have one motion to approve the slate of the following. Considering the reappointment of Edith Heron and Bill Pearlstein to the Board of Adjustment for terms ending September 19, 2028. Also, reappointment of Laura Ritter to the Parks and Shade Tree Commission for the term ending September 19th, 2028. And the appointment of Commissioner Chris Galani to Personnel Committee for a one-year term. Can I have a motion?
I would make a motion to consider reappointments of Edith Herron and William Perlstein to the Board of Adjustment for terms ending September 19th, 2028, and to consider reappointment of Laura Ritter to the Parks and Shade Tree Commission for the term ending September 19th, 2028, and lastly, to consider appointment of Commissioner Chris Galante to the Personnel Committee for a one-year term.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Suzanne Good and a second by Commissioner Mark Saunders to approve the slate noted for the reappointments noted on the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, and they are unanimously reappointed. With that, we're going to go to review future meeting dates. Monday, October 6th, 9:00 a.m. is our workshop meeting. With that, I want to go to citizen comment. Is there anybody out there that wants to say anything? And the answer is no. With that, commissioner announcements and comments. I want to remind everybody that Taylor is available for comments and questions after this meeting, if you have anything you want to share with him. Reminder that the next agenda will include topics, future agenda topics,
Mr. Mayor,
and
are you
implementing new management practices. And
Mr. Mayor, before you adjourn, I'm worried you're about to adjourn. You're like going headlong. Are you accepting commissioner comments?
yes, well, I had just finished mine, and now I go to, are there any comments by the commissioners? Would you like the floor?
Thank you. I would appreciate that. My comment is in regards to a topic from last month's meeting, which was properly notified. I am concerned, having looked at the charter, that it does not confer banking abilities on the Board of Commissioners. So this term sheet that's being put together by a select group of individuals, which wasn't shared widely except last minute in March and now is being revised, I'm very concerned that it may include becoming a loan officer to a private nonprofit theater, in much the same way that we became probably in violation of the charter, became a loan officer to Mr. Tedder with a $750,000 mortgage. So I would ask, given that Clear Space Theater, if, for instance, in Lewis, is buying private land, is not even being transferred land gratis by the, as the city of Rehoboth is proposing to do, that we keep in the spirit and the law, the letter of the charter, and do not include any loans by the city of Rehoboth, which would necessitate approval by the Board of Commissioners to a private nonprofit theater like Clear Space Theater. And to avoid any confusion on this, I think the term sheet should be available both to the public and to the Board of Commissioners, not just 48 hours in advance of any meeting on this topic, but 7 days as a courtesy, unless the term sheet is worked out among all 7 members of the board, which has not been the protocol that I've seen. So I'm very concerned about this, and I hope we will not get ourselves involved in more banking activities, which are not allowed under the Rehoboth Beach Charter to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Suzanne. Are there any other commissioner comments?
I know it's
Commissioner
late and I
Stewart?
apologize, but I want to address the elephant in the room. This meeting has gone on far longer than needed, and I want to respect the chair and Robert's Rules of Order. I want to be civil and respectful, but we cannot continue talking about things ad nauseum, off topic. It's not fair to the rest of us who abide by the rules.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Saunders?
30 seconds. I was wondering if among my fellow commissioners, there would be any interest in talking about moving the time up of our regular meetings, the monthly meetings, from 2 o'clock to 1 o'clock. As we can see, it's almost 6 o'clock now, and Is there any reason why anybody, I would like to do it, I don't know if anybody else would.
Great idea.
Great idea.
We can definitely bring that back as a future agenda item.
No!
Well, maybe we're,
Mayor?
Mr. Mayor?
Takes planning.
Commissioner Gossett?
I would support that, but I would ask that we have a report back from the city manager, how that would impact staff preparing for the meeting, et cetera. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes in preparation for this meeting that I don't think that could be justified in just a quick vote here. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Good?
I mean, instead of solving the problem, it seems like we're just pushing the time up, which allows us to be kept here as almost slaves till well past close of business on Fridays. What we really should be doing is starting at 2 o'clock and saying that we have to adjourn by 4:45 p.m. on a Friday, instead of giving us now the opportunity to start at 1 o'clock and go for another hour versus the pass. I'm not in favor of bumping it up to 1 p.m. for that reason, because you're not putting any, restrictions and parameters on how long total the meeting will go.
Mayor,
So this meeting is adjourned.
Media's okay with 1 o'clock.
All right.
Yeah, because you